Hello chat, how are we doing today? It is a Tuesday. Hello. Hope we're all having ourselves as good of a time as we can. Beautiful second over there. I see that Lee as well got first. Mercury Love there with the second. Hell yeah. Good job, you two. Where was that thing that I was going to do? Right, yes. Okay, I have that on my side screen. Oh boy, we are probably finishing the Roottrees Are Dead today? I don't know. I'm assuming that we are? I don't know. I could suddenly go really stupid. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. We have been, this is our fourth one? Yeah, from one ad break to another. I wish that the start of stream ones, I wish I could just like do them immediately, that there wasn't like a minute in between, you know? I wish those happened during, I want people to hear the opening song. It's really good, but I wish they happened during that, you know? I have them set to the earliest they can be. There's a cat in my room who does not want to remain in my room. 1 second, I must rectify this issue, as she does not have thumbs. Oh, she's standing up. She's standing up on her hind legs trying to get there. 1 second. Going over to this screen. Alright, kitty. You need help? Yeah? Meow to you too. Go on. Don't just stand in the doorway. Okay, there she goes. Oh, did a big steppy! Big steppy on the way out. Big steppy. Gotta be real tough. See, that's why you subscribe, you get to hear the cat noise. I don't even know if that made it on. I don't know, I have a noise gate. You might have just heard me talking to the cat. Who knows? Who knows? Certainly not me. Okay, now I can put my headphones back on. Long and arduous journey of sitting down in a chair and putting one plushie in front of me and one plushie behind me. Plushie sandwich. That's how I sit. That's how I sit. Is I have a plushie on my back. I have like a squishmallow for back support. Cause I like my chair. My chair isn't bad. It's just there's like a whole long story short. Cause long story short, I need a guy back there to like actually serve the function of the back of a chair. And then I have another guy in my lap. I have a different guy in my lap than usual. I have I was gonna just say the name of the plushie that I have, but that would literally only clarify it to, like, my roommates. It's like, normally I have Cholgosh on my lap, but actually I have Hansel today. I have Hansel in my lap today. It's a big hamster. Stole the prime lapper. Yeah, I let Lee borrow my weighted guy. 25 stream streak from Maple. Hell yeah. 25. That's crazy. I'm so impressed anytime anyone does any sort of stream streak. I feel like the highest I've ever gotten watching anybody was like 3 or 4. I can't. Y'all, the consistency and the power that everybody else possesses is incredible. Hello there, Mercury Love. Hello. Welcome on back. I was just talking about how bad I am at watching Twitch. Now, granted, I have so many other things that I watch as well. I have so many things that I'm oscillating between them. And I'm like, I did watch some stuff today. Nothing interesting, though. Nothing particularly cool and epic that sticks out to me. I think I just needed a day of rest after my whole weekend was pretty busy. And it's like, I gotta get back into it, though. I gotta get back in the swing of things. I gotta get there. I'm coloring one of my OCs in, and I like fully redesigned her outfit and like color scheme as well. So that one's been taking me a lot more time than all of my other characters like that. But she's looking really cute so far, and I'm really I'm really liking it. It's really good. I like her so far. I had to do it was one of those things where I took like such a large like gap in between starting drawing her and then actually continuing to do research on a disability that she has. Where I was like, okay, I have this much done. I need to double check some facts and decide on some specific types of stuff. Because I think that's always a really good thing, because, you know, you should do that research if you have a character who has it, but it's also, like, aside from even the obvious stuff of making the character, like, a good version of it and not falling into tropes, it can give you some cool character details, you know? I read about different, because this character has albinism, I read about a bunch of different types of it, and comorbidities that it can have. So I'm like, ooh, yeah. It actually fits really thematically with my stuff. And like, oh, I'm gonna definitely pretend that that was intentional, that this isn't a byproduct of me having these OCs since I was but a wee child. But since I was but a young lad / lass, whatever it was, of, you know, 63, I think I was at the time. But yes. They've changed so much. Like, this is my main group of OCs. Originally started off as Adventure Time OCs, and now they're like my own separate thing. So it's like, the character who I now call Snow, because that's her nickname based off of Snow White given to her. Because she, you know, stranger danger, she's a 7-year-old, she's not telling people her real name, so they call her Snow after Snow White. I changed her hair design as well so that her head is shaped like an apple, because she's named after Snow White. Can I... Sorry, this is entirely off topic. This is just what I've been doing, and I want to show you guys her real quick. This is a work in progress, alright? This is a work in progress. You guys want to see her really quick? She's really cute. Get over here real quick. This is what she looks like right now, and she's really cute. I haven't colored in her shoes yet. These are colors from my other OCs so that I would know if they would work. As you can tell, she's more colorful than a lot of the rest of them. I've been going for like a, because all my OCs have a color that I associate with them heavily, and Snow's is white, but I'm using that in the sense of like light and prisms and stuff, so it's doing sort of a CMY. Not really much the K that's typical in a CMYK type thing, but also pastels, because it's a very... Everybody else has, like, pretty desaturated colors in this universe. And, where'd my mouse go? There it is. I haven't colored in her glasses yet as well. I'm gonna have her with some sunglasses. I also have a version of her here without the hat on. And as you can see, her head is shaped like an apple. It's shaped like her... That's a little so that she's Snow White. It's an apple. She's so cute. And the other thing that I had that I found fun is I've seen people do this. I'm not sure how I like the way that I did it here. As you can see, her eyes here. Her eyes are facing slightly different directions. I did research on that as well. It's when I've gone with the type of thing where, like, everybody else is looking fully straightforward. This eye, you see, is looking really straightforward. This one's looking a little bit to our right, her left. I've seen, like, it's more... It is more obvious when they're looking straight up or straight down, like the eye will be veering a bit more to the side. I think that was called, like, A or V type. I forget the exact term of that. I wrote this down in a notebook somewhere. Look, I've done not as much research, but it's pretty fresh, so I'm confident in doing this. But there's like a thing... Ah, God, I forget the fucking term. You know, when the eyes are shaky a bit. So I have, like, a version that has, like, a motion blur. I don't know if this is how I would want to do it, but this is definitely something, you know? It's me trying things out, seeing what works. Seeing what happens. I think doing that kind of stuff is fun. I think it's cool and epic, and I like it. But yeah. I just want to get her designed by Artfi, but once again, that is in July. I'm good. I'm fully good. I don't gotta worry about that. Another thing I don't have to worry about, let me pull up here our list here of all these characters, with fictional character birthday list that I've been working on. Something I don't have to worry about is April 22nd. I spent this morning as well doing, adding in all of, maybe not all of, but a lot of Sailor Moon and Pretty Cure characters. And now, that one's gone. I will say, the Pretty Cure fandom wiki is what I was going for most of them. Some of them did not have their birthday on there, so I turned to Anime Characters Database. Now, both of these I find scrupulous sources, especially more so Anime Characters Database. But I will just say, neither of them listed a source for the birthday information, and I could not find anything official. So I just truly was like, fuck it, I'm trusting both of these, you know? They're fictional characters, it's not a big deal. But I just want to say that in case anybody's like, why did you put this character there? Because they didn't fucking have one. And then the one website claimed it, and that can work sometimes. Fun fact, Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit, got a middle name in a piece of fanfiction, which was then, like, added to a fandom wiki, and just, like, by somebody who thought that that was canon. And now that name is actually canon, because people who worked at Marvel saw it listed on there and just trusted that. Gambit has a middle name because of that, so, you know, things can happen. Maybe that's the power of fandom. But alright, today is March the 3rd. Let me pull up the list is already pulled up, but I gotta scroll. Ooh, we got quite a few today. What happened here? Something happened here. Whoa. Something happened to my list, because I'm seeing here, some characters listed incorrectly. Now, I did a lot of stuff on this thing, so I don't know if I could Control-Z it to get to there. Because I'm seeing, the character birthdays that I have for today are the exact same as the characters I have on the 9th. So either one of these got fucked up. Let me look up the first character and check out their birthday. Is it today or is it on the 9th? It's today. Okay, so I will need to go back at some point. And, I will need to edit March 9th. I'm gonna do, like, a big, like, exclamation point in it. Of, like, double-checking all of my stuff. Because for some reason, March 9th was listed every character for today. Now, I don't remember who was there before, because there's 366 days in the year. Who knows? Alright. But today, we can just go ahead and be relaxed with that. And I can tell you that for fictional characters, the birthdays are Toko Fukawa from Danganronpa, the ultimate author, was that it? What's her ultimate writing prodigy? That's it. That's the specific there. Sorry, I'm looking at her height. It's like 164 centimeters consistently, but I will say like the fuck. No, that one's metric. What's imperial? The imperial, I don't want to say translation, but you know, conversion is different depending on the game, and I find that really funny. She's listed as 5'4" in Trigger Happy Havoc, but 5'3" in another episode. Her hunch got worse. Alright. Also for today, Anon and Canon. Anon and Kanon. I've never heard their names said out loud. The Vocaloids. Hell yeah. Fun little guys there. Yukiko Kanzaki from Assassination Classroom. Kanzaki sounds familiar, but that might be from another character. Who knows? Let's see. Let's look you up. Which one are you? I figured that you would be sort of like that, yeah. But I feel like that was probably just the vibe that I got from the name. Yeah, she's just a cute girl. Just a cute little girl there. Pave from Animal Crossing. Hell yeah, that fucking... Peacock. I couldn't remember the word for peacock for a second. I was like, he's not an ostrich. Oh hell yeah! Chika Fujiwara, as well as Yu Ishigami from Kaguya-sama Love is War. Ah! God, I love that anime. God, I love that show so much. It's so relatable. Not what you want to take away from it, but it's so relatable. And then, the Pretty Cure birthdays are, not wearing off, that's not the term I want. Paying off, that's what I want. They're paying off already, because we also have Robbie Rin from Healin' Good Pretty Cure. There's not much I can say about any Pre-Cure character aside from the ones that appear in Cura Pretty Cure a la mode, because that's the one season I've seen, but hey! That's the guy that I added today. And we're gonna go ahead and also read off the ones for tomorrow. We have 3 character birthdays then, as well as 1 media release being a song. Tomorrow, March 4th, has Lost Ones Weeping by Neru featuring Kagamine Rin. That is one of my favorite Vocaloid songs. I'm sorry that I almost gave the credit to Miku. I was honestly even... I could feel in my mouth that I was going to say Hatsune Rin. I wasn't even going to say Hatsune Miku. It's Kagamine Rin. Anyway, unless they got married. Anyway, also for today, birthday-wise, Makoto Teruhashi from The Disastrous Life of Psyche K, Amajiki Tamaki from My Hero Academia, and Isabeau from In Stars and Time. I feel like you could tell what my favorite of those 3 was by my tone, but I didn't. It wasn't intentional. However, that is not the order I had them listed in, and I did in fact save Isabeau for last. Whatever, you know, things happen. Alright. That should be it then for our birthdays. I think now, chat, we can, in fact, get into gaming. I think we can. I think that'll be a grand old time. Sans, thank you for your beautiful song. I've appreciated listening to your wonderful tunes that you so gratefully provide to us every single time. But, I think it's time now that you can, take your break. Thank you for your hard work. Okay, let's see here. Let's see these root trees, and maybe they're dead. I don't know. I got a feeling that they might be dead. If only there was some sort of game that would tell me. If only some sort of game could tell me whether they were. Oh my god, the root trees are dead. Big if true, big if true. But last we left off, we've got almost everybody done. We truly just need to find an occupation for Robert Roottree and November Roottree. I think what we have to do is look at these 2 things here that have the stuff, because I believe that we've gotten all the evidence. I believe that was an achievement we got for finding all of the evidence. So I'm just truly going to dedicate so much into doing this. This was buried under a ton of other mail that Carl left in his inbox. Okay. From that, we know Carl had an inbox. You know? I think I was gonna be like, I'm gonna look into everything here. I don't think I'm gonna look into Carl. Because if I needed to look into Carl, there's so much other evidence to do here. I'm gonna focus here on Stephanie. I think we can include her husband as well. Stuff about Stephanie, about Brian Jones, was it? And then Courtney, or Caroline? Caroline. Probably not Caroline, because she has other stuff as well. I think focus on these guys. There's probably less... I feel like we researched Stephanie a lot last time, so let's start with Brian. Because I also think that there's going to be less about him. I truly don't know how they're going to connect to anything, but I'm just going based on it, and then if I'm just doing nothing, it is Brian Jones. Then, you know, we do what we can. I have to do it every time. Whoops. Yes, this is how I had to do it. Butler County Times, Jones Graphic and Print. Let me double check over here. Yeah. Jones Graphic and Print. Butler County Times. Pennsylvania. Search for us online, design the website myself. Let me first... I mean, I don't think this is anything, but let me look up the Butler County Times. Yeah. Okay. Oops. So it was Jones Graphic and Print. Okay. We also do web design. Let's look up everything here. Stephanie Jones campaign. No. I mean, we can also just look up Stephanie Jones. Yeah, nothing there. I don't think I need to look up the Roottrees Candy Company. I don't know if Butler County's gonna do much. Yeah. I guess I can look up this. Yeah, I didn't think so. I know that we've also looked up Children of Eden, and it was like... Was it Stephen Schwartz? Was that it? Yeah, it was. Miracle Network. Well, I think we've already looked up these guys as well. Yeah. Production company, Miracles Roottrees, New England. I've gotten the flyer. I looked up the estate specifically. Yeah. Roottrees Motors. Nothing there. School district. Nope. Summer theater. I remember we looked this up before and there was... I don't think we got anything from it. November Studios, fuck. God damn it, are you kidding me? Shit. Local dance school, okay. Oh my god. I mean, it'll probably be in the Butler County, fucking... Instead of November Studios, maybe they should have called this No Mention Studios because you can't find any information about it anywhere. Not a thought. Nice thought, though. Okay. I mean, is that her? Or is that not? If I include the choreography? that's the only mention of November we've ever seen. Right? Ballet and jazz classes. What, just ballet? Okay, what about, what if I searched ballet in here? If I go back to the Butler County Times, or not the Butler County Times, to, Jones Graphic and Print. Yeah, nothing here. Okay, what if we did, No, we already did that, didn't we? November... We already did this, right? Is this anything, then? Is dance an option? Dancer? Fuck it. Who the fuck are you, Robert? I mean, are you a lawyer? I'd love it if you were, but I don't think you are. Robert Roottree. Who is this man? Okay, what's the other thing that we have? It's this. Brother Trouble New Gossip? Can I look that up? Okay, let's see here. Still mentioned quite often. Team is dating a Roottree. Brother Trouble, yeah. One of the creators of Brother Trouble, Ron, married Penelope, who played TMS's mom. Who's the other? Is there others? I mean... Show running and creating. I mean... Head of RR Productions. Defunct production company responsible for Brother Trouble. You find a comment on a Usenet board stating that Brother Trouble ended up being an ironic name considering the rumors about RR Productions' Ron and Robbie Roottree. Okay. Because, I mean, I figured one of these guys would be the RR that did this lawsuit. You guys are calling him Robbie. There's not much relevant information about Robbie Roottree. In a comment set thread on a message board about television cliches, you find a thread called Why Was Brother Trouble Cancelled? One user speculates, I think it's because the writing really went downhill in season 2. They actually had an episode where Roxy was addicted to sniffing markers. Another person replied, maybe it's due to the rumor about Robbie Roottree in Silver Screen magazine. Silver Screen magazine? Yeah, that's what I meant. New periodical was Hollywood Insiders magazine, focusing on actors and actresses and more about the nitty-gritty of writing, directing, costuming, set design, film production, and other elements of filmmaking. 83 to 93, bought by bigger, more recognizable magazine a few years ago. Website now redirects to the new one. New one isn't relevant. Well, now I have to look up all of the other characters related to this, you know? Was it fucking, like, Penelope, Tessa Green? Oops. You know, it's like I want to look up everybody. An article about Ron Roottree from '84 entitled, "Don't Blame Nepotism, He Gets Results." After finding some small-screen success, first as the director for many soap opera episodes, and then stepping in as the showrunner to turn around a few struggling productions, Ron has decided to start his own television production company. Ron was born in the US, but grew up in Paris with his once famous mother and his brother Robbie. He gobbled up American cinema whenever he could, and when he was old enough, returned to Hollywood to attend film school. He brings a special kind of charisma, and an eye for unusual shots, particularly when it comes to comedy. Those he's worked with have gone on record as saying he's an attentive director who can work with actors to make sure the timing of a joke lands perfectly. Wild Bill Williams. Small mention of him. Director who considered Wild Bill his friend once hired him to make a small cameo in a war movie called Christmas Mission. Apparently Wild Bill lived up to his reputation. Showed up drunk 3 days in a row, couldn't remember his lines, kept hitting on an actress who was supposed to be doing a very somber, serious role, dropped from the picture and he and the director no longer speak. Wynn Roottree, Gwynn. Nothing relevant there. Anybody else here, like, famous in, like, the TV sort of sense? I don't think so, right? November is fucking annoying me so much right now. I'm just like, I hope that that's that, but I feel like there should be more evidence. I don't know. Okay. Robbie Roottree. A small rumors article from 1992 claims that self-taught television screenwriter Robbie Roottree was, allegedly, tried and convicted under the name Robert in a French court of law. It seems he, again, allegedly embezzled from the company RR Productions to fuel a gambling habit that left him hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. He then fled to Paris, where he grew up, and then, Silver Screen continues to insist this is all very much allegedly, assaulted an officer who came to question him. The article's author says they were unable to get a statement from French authorities, but received information from an anonymous source and were able to confirm through public record that there was a trial involving a Robert Roottree around the time that Brother Trouble was cancelled. Okay. I mean, let me also just look up Brother Trouble in here. Nothing relevant, alright. I mean... what was the thing here? Roottrees versus RR. Significant crime and born out of wedlock. Yeah, that could have been... that could have been him as well. What was the crime, though? Gambling, or I guess embezzling? And then gambling habit? Is criminal? Convict? No, that's not anything here. Just double checking. Well, we know that this happened then. But he was working for, oh no wait, it says, screenwriter here. I was like, okay, well, he was working for the company, so he did something in film. Screenwriter, then. November's a dancer! I feel like there's gotta be more evidence pointing to that. Right? Right, yes!
To my genealogy genie. If you're reading this, it means you've locked in 49 blood relatives. Congratulations! I knew you could do it. There are 2 more entries on the family tree I'd like you to consider. These last 2 are optional. You can summon me whenever you wish. However, this will end your search and reveal the truth. So make sure you're ready.
I mean... EC! Yes! I mean, I've been thinking. I figured that out myself already, and I think everything else is locked in. I mean, we've gotten all the evidence. I will say, I keep thinking about this family dogu. I want it. That might be an after. That might be a once I beat the game type thing. What happens if I look at the duck? No, wait, you're probably gonna give me a hint about the these, which I'm pretty sure I know. I mean, yeah, I have to type them in here. Guardian adoption or otherwise. Well, I believe that this would be a certain estranged twin. Edward Clancy. I guess I gotta follow the same scheme. I hit semicolon. And then over here, Miller, John. Confirm? Yes! But first! Yeah, I got them all already. Yeah! Family tree complete! Fuck yeah! Booyah! Get over here, lady. Hi.
So, you thought EC was Edward Clancy Roottree, and his partner was John Miller?
Yeah?
That's exactly what I needed to hear. I'm Sam Madsen, though
Yo!
the Roottree. Yup, I got old. The only picture you have of me is from 40 years ago. My book tells the truth about Elias, the 5 pieces, and my parents. Not my biological parents, Elias Jr. and Patsy. My fathers.
Yeah!
Edward Clancy Roottree and John Miller.
Hell yeah.
By now, you've either read Lauren's diaries, or you're just an incredible guesser.
I mean... I figured. I've been figuring for a bit.
Lauren was right. I hated the 5 pieces. She just didn't know my full reasoning. My father, Edward Clancy, was a great man. But his identical twin Clancy and his father, Elias, were not.
Yeah.
At age 16, my father was caught kissing a farmhand.
Yup. Yup. It's all... I got it all. I'm so proud of myself.
Back then, they wouldn't even acknowledge gay people existed. Having one in the family was unthinkable. The same year, I was born. A bastard granddaughter. 2 stains on Elias's perfect family. He decided to fix both. They tried to erase Edward Clancy. They even removed his 5 pieces flavor. His name was deemed a dirty word. He became EC. We were sent to the farm, and the 5 pieces did their best to keep the next generation away, to isolate me from family.
Yes.
But Elias couldn't erase us from existence. Laura never realized I was the little girl from her diary. Who could blame me for being so confused that day? Her father was an exact copy of mine, except without the beard. And while the 5 pieces celebrated a new factory, farmhands did the real work.
Exactly.
It's a fluke there's a picture of my father at all. But there he is in the background. The 6th 5-piece.
Yo, okay, that I did not see.
Patsy returned, and things got complicated for Elias. She fought for my freedom, from a life she deemed unworthy. Elias relented, so long as I never learned the truth or receive inheritance. They knew I'd help my father. At Elias's will reading, I learned part of the truth. The rest I learned at home. I began to hate the 5 pieces. My father made me stay silent. He was worried history would repeat, and that his grandchildren would become outcasts. His fears weren't unfounded. As you know, my son Ernie died a few years ago. He had trained to take over as president.
Yeah.
But due to family politics, or perhaps hubris, it went to Guy. A real root tree. He nearly ruined the company.
Yeah.
When Ernie took over, he saved the operation. Over 13 years, he made the family billions.
2 years.
Holy shit. 2. Oh my god, Haldo, that's crazy. Thank you so... 2 years is so many! What the fuck? That's too many. That's scary. I mean, no, stay here, don't worry. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. That's fucking awesome. Holy shit, the passage of time... Passage of time is scary. Okay, passage of time is scary.
Ernie earned about $36. They got by on Debbie's salary, but when he fell ill, he couldn't pay his medical bills. His death was my tipping point.
Right, yeah, Ernie wouldn't be getting the money from... Yeah, wouldn't be getting the Clan Sid money. Instead, only getting the 5 pieces money, yeah. 2 years subbed and you're still an alcoholic. Well, some things never change, you know? First step is realizing, I suppose.
Originally, my book was meant to expose Elias's hypocrisy. Until I started to look into the other dirty laundry. Ron tried to have Robbie removed from the trust, but couldn't. Robbie was a blood relative, even out of wedlock. That sounded familiar. The Clansid Trust that Elias established was designed to secure his family's future. His entire family's future. He couldn't write exceptions in without the whole thing falling apart.
We're gonna fuck this shit up so badly. We're gonna ruin this family.
My book can definitively prove that Elias was not the paragon of virtue he's heralded as, and that my daughter and granddaughters are just as much family, at least in the eyes of the Trust, as anyone else.
You realize then embraced it because you're low-key more happy than before you started drinking. I'm not a professional in any regard, so you know what, that's your life, I suppose.
The Clansid Trust will secure their future. They can decide what to do with their shares. But I'm old, and I'm not in it for the money. The truth has been eating away at me for years, but now I can set the record straight, thanks to you.
Well, it's more like you're setting the record gay, isn't it? Sorry, I feel like I should do, it's more like you're setting the record gay. You know? I mean...
As someone who enjoys searching for the truth, you might understand the power it has.
When you first subbed, I was playing Dredge? I think so. That's what popped into my brain. I feel like it was Dredge. I feel like it was Dredge.
Gender fluid.
That's also a good point. The record could be gender fluid. I mean, who are all of them? What are all of these people? I don't know. Some of them could be. What did you say to me again, Sam? Someone who enjoys searching for the truth, I might understand the power it has, yeah.
Whitewashing the past to protect the status quo can lead to repercussions in the present and future.
Yeah.
So thank you. You knocked it out of the park. With your expert work, the truth will come to light. And when it does, my share of the Clansid Trust is yours.
Whoa.
Like I said at the beginning, set for life.
You sure? I'm gonna be real, I didn't... Are you getting... Okay, I was like, there's like a 50-50 shot, like the resolution of this is either you get the money from the Clancy Trust, or the Clancy Trust falls apart and nobody gets any money from it anymore.
Looking at the family tree on your wall, now with my father's, everything finally feels complete.
I'm glad.
Unless a whole lot more root trees somehow appear from thin air. This is the last time I'll come knocking.
Well, didn't they mention that Elias had brothers? He had siblings? I mean...
Thanks again, and so long.
Goodbye. Have a good night, Sam.
We're rolling on down to the sea.
Hey! Thanks to your hard work, Sam Madsen's book was published. It received mixed reviews. Life went on, and a new president took over the company. The Roottrees family faded from the news cycle. And then, everything changed. There's another mystery to solve! Roottreemania is now unlocked as a new game. Hello? I'm a secret root tree. Hello, gimme, gimme, gimme. Or as a new game, you said? Whoops. I mean, can I look at these yet? I want to know what the fuck this book is. It drives me insane. Main menu. It said as a new game, it said. Not the thing I wanted to click on. Roottreemania! Find out what happens to the infamous family in a whole new mystery! We'll spoil unlocked content. Make sure you've tied up any loose ends before starting. I believe I have. I didn't even know about this. I saw, like, some of the achievements, because I glanced at those, mentioned Roottreemania, but I didn't think it would be this. Oh my god, did you see the board? Who the wait, are you Clark? Clark!
Probably not who you expected to be knocking.
I recognized him!
Sometimes.
I don't know. There's something about Clark that I kept getting my eye drawn to him. You know? It's like, he just confounds me.
You've done well staying anonymous.
Thank you.
It took us a while to track you down. A lot has happened in the last year. Far too much of it public. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too.
I tried my best.
I never wanted to be president.
You're president?!
Yes. With my mother's deteriorating I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork.
I'm sorry, you got to be the president? Oh my god, Clark, I'm gonna level with you, bud. Are you okay? Is that alright? Clark, are you qualified? Like, are you good? I guess you were in the advertising career, weren't you? So I guess, you know what, at least you had something going on. I don't know.
Now that it's public knowledge, the Clancy Trust covers any root tree despite their history with us. A lot of potential cousins have surfaced. You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time. It was a disaster for us.
I don't read.
And then Miracle went and made it all about himself.
That sounds like Miracle.
The long and short of it is, a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them, but she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in. It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side. In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally.
I'm truly just trying to figure out whether you are or not, you know? Whether you are or whether you think you are.
Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this.
Thank you, thank you.
To each their own.
I trust him now. He says he's letting me do puzzles. That means that he's a real one. Possible infidelity? Ooh! people fucking. First affair and final affair. Oh my. 5? Ooh! Alright! I'm guessing these are like the root trees. This person is also on original tree. Yeah. And they're both in this. Oh my god, this is messy as hell! Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. I mean, once I verify this person will be able to add bonus photos. Are they going to be new photos, or can I, like, technically tell who it's going to be because nobody else... No, okay, nobody had... Hey, you've got new. That wasn't there before. Clark! I'm like, nobody else has that many images. Chris. Oh my god, the Rafferty family. Oh my god, they're going crazy. You know, okay. I need more evidence other than that. Hi. Clark Rafferty LaRue. Oh, I didn't realize he changed his name. That's nice. The current president, Roottree, explained multiple people have come out of their work. Yes, we have new notepad here. This is where it said these. Okay. I remember like a while ago, I was trying to find that. That's where it is. Letter said I could share with Sam that said the following. To both of you. The company I hired to help us with the Clanson Trust is busy pouring through the entire family's history, as well as people they may have had contact with. That said, the family is not particularly happy about this, and are doing their best to slow things down. Many of them are actively avoiding our interviews. Every time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches. So please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe could realistically be a part of the relationship that led to the birth of a new root tree. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new sections of the tree, and we'll take the time to handle verifying that the timeline checks out. But keep in mind why we're here. If someone didn't have a child or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with the negative DNA test, there won't be a place for them on the tree. We're not just looking for affairs and infidelities, we're only looking for the ones that led to potential newer root trees. Some spots in the new section will be marked with a tree icon. Those are the original family members. Like last time, use birth names. Married names or nicknames won't be enough. I recommend you, to start sorting out the infidelities, I recommend you turn your eyes to the men in positions of power. I'd love to say that it's only because it would have been a lot harder for the women to hide 9 months of pregnancy and birth without the family noticing, but I can't. I'll be blunt. I'm no stranger to infidelity. I wish I could claim that I was a perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so why pretend? Some of us learned to wield our family name and fortune to our benefit, consequences be damned. I can't change the past or unhurt those who I betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself, and to you, refuse to make any more mistakes, and do my best to sort out the various messes we've left behind. So please, fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to begin to make amends. Good luck, and thank you both. Okay, in that case, I'm definitely going ahead and just putting... Oh, I can't. In that case, I'm just doing that, you know? Alright. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Previously on The Roottrees Are Dead. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is just information that we've already found. Few dead ends and red herrings. Yeah, red herring. Family Man, a book about Elias Roottree, turned out to be propaganda and not useful. I don't know if I ever looked that up. Lauren's other books, historical romance novels, were not useful on their own, though could lead to other information, and Caroline Morden's sculptures were not useful. Notable events here. 6 pieces! Oh, okay, that's the name of Sam's book. Got it. Okay, it's August 3rd, 1999. Been 8 months since we helped Sam with the research necessary for her book. She was true to her word and paid me an incredibly large sum of money. Never mentioned me by name, however, and managed to keep a low profile. Roottrees, on the other hand, have not. Below is a summary of notable events since the book's release, though you can refresh your memory in full detail by searching online. You believe I better. You better believe I will. That's what I meant to say, but I fucked it up. 6 pieces. Sam Madson's book about Elias Roottree was released in February. It was a bestseller for a few months. At the time, Carl had not yet been replaced. The Roottree Rift. In March, the Roottree Company stumbled publicly as they attempted to respond to the book's release with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. Clark Rafferty LaRue. Clark was announced as the permanent successor to Carl Roottree and welcomed Sam Madson to the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle changes to the Clancy Trust, included any other questions of lineage. 5 Ps. After this announcement, there was a rush of different people claiming to be Roottrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these, by a wide margin, was a rapper named Felix Fellows, who changed his moniker to 5 Ps as a publicity move at the same time. 5 Ps is the only notable person on the updated tree. So this would be 5 Ps. So Felix Fellows, you said? Alright. Well, you said... Did you say rapper? Yeah. So... rapper isn't on here. Musician, then? Roottreemania. In another high-profile misstep, oh boy, Miracle Roottree publicly and vehemently denied that 5 Ps was a Roottree. The Roottree's legal team was then offered to do a DNA test to get 5 Ps to drop his claim, and in a moment that seemed like it caught the entire world by storm, the test proved that he was a Roottree. Suddenly the world was obsessed with the Roottrees. Anonymom and Jane Doe Roottree. In July, an anonymous woman, who the press began to refer to as Anonymom, appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with a Roottree led to the birth of her daughter, aka Jane Doe Roottree. If true, this would make her daughter yet another secret Roottree, and therefore entitled to the share of the Clancy Trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would turn to be the last chapter in the Roottreemania saga. As more and more of Anonymom's story came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5 Ps in nearly every significant way. The court of public opinion began to turn. Confirming the world's suspicions, the DNA test, orchestrated by lawyers on both sides, proved that her daughter was not a Roottree. This final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusations of the entire ordeal being an elaborate hoax or attempt at fraud. Things got a bit ugly, and the fun of Roottreemania seemed to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. Well, that is a lot of fun. I'm so... and I'm excited to research everything. I would love to. Is there anything different in my house? I don't believe so. Everything else looks the same. Can I get a... Hell yeah. First, though, before I get into any of this chat, we are about to experience 3 minutes of ads. So if you need to go to the bathroom, or grab a snack, or get something to drink, now is going to be the perfect time to do so. So please take care of yourself. This is also your hourly self-care check-in, so please remember, to feed your pets, to fix your posture, to save your files, to unclench your jaw, to take your meds, to yada yada, to do some stretches, charge your devices. Please take care of yourself. I thought I got to it in time, but they started in the middle of my spiel. Ba. Yes. God, I'm so glad that there's more of this. I'm so glad that there's more of this. I fucking love this already. Woo! Like, I don't know what sort of notes I'm gonna need here. I think I can, like, organize my notes a little bit real quick. Infidelity 1. How do you spell infidelity? That's gonna drive me crazy. Okay, well, I should put them here. Infidelity 1. I'm just gonna shorten it to inf. Three. Inf. 4. Because there's just the 4, right? No, family tree update. Oh, I guess somebody just had normal child. Somebody just had child normal style. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. Well, no, you know what? Let's do 3.1. 3.2. 3.3. 3.4. 3.5. Tree update. To search miscellaneous. There we go. Nice big drink of water. Let's see, do I need to change the stream category to is Roottreemania a thing? No, it's not. I can keep it as Roottrees Are Dead. Welcome back from the ads, chat. All you missed is I went ahead and I labeled my notes. I don't have any notes. But these are what I have here. The infidelities. And then this one is just family tree update. Not an infidelity itself. Imagine having ads. Yeah. Cringe. Okay. Let's just go to our to search thing here. I mean, Roottrees Candy Company, Butler County, Pennsylvania. Lauren's Diaries. Maybe. I don't know, I feel like looking up... I'll just have some of that down here. 5 pieces, maybe. Presidents of Roottree. I'll just highlight all of that real quick. Yeah, November was really hard to find. Like, these are all things that I will just, like, double check, you know? Yeah, the historical letters. Ba-ba-bum. And I guess we can also double check all of these. And then we can go over to notable events here. No, I'll do it as multiple things here. Ba-ba-ba. I'm just gonna get like a little bit here of each. And then I can like double check. Okay. Back here we are. Oh, delightful. I can pull up Pixpop, can't I? Oh, I still have those images. Oh, I'm so impatient. I'm just like, there was a part of me that was worried pulling up Pixpop might have fucked it up. Oh, there we go, thank goodness. Oh, and we have all this as well, okay. I was wondering whether I would have to pull up the periodicals again. Alright. There's an older version in the Time Travel Archive. Ooh! Much has changed over the last many months at Roottrees Candy Company. One of those things is its website. Although during your last search you only got a good look at the history page, the design itself has clearly become much more sleek and very corporate. Gone is any history focused on Elias Roottree. Instead, the site seems to focus on the present status of their candy offerings, with high-quality JPEGs of their products. There are some small ads for Root, which is the clothing company owned by the Roottrees Candy Company. There's also a small section at the bottom, which is the president as Clark Rafferty LaRue. A short bio mentions that he was responsible for some of their marketing before taking the reins after the unfortunate plane crash. There's also a small memorial section for those that were perished in the plane crash, including the Roottrees sisters, Carl and Brenda, Kurt Johnson, Mark Sanchez, Trish King, and Eliza Nicholson. There's a part— ooh, yeah, we do have the image of him there. Yeah, we can also double check all of the notable Roottrees here. Gwyneth, Roottree, Anderson, Elias Roottree, Lauren. Just so I make sure I have all of them down. Miracle Jr. Sounds like the Miracles are getting up to some shit as well. I feel like Carl and those kids are already mentioned enough that I'm definitely going to be looking them up. I mean, I do want to just, like, double check, like, pretty much everybody. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that at some point. Okay. Okay, that's the Roottrees family candy company, rather. Butler County, Pennsylvania. This page has been updated for at least 8 months and may now be irrelevant. Hell yeah, that's great to know. Elias and Gwyneth Roottree were never really celebrities, but the general public's perception of them as classic faces associated with the RCC has always been in somewhat high regard. This was Elias' intention as a family man with his family brand. Since Six Piece, the candy company has placed much less of an emphasis on Elias as a historical brand-connected figure. But there have also been those who have argued that it was his right to decide how to split his inheritance and that he did nothing wrong. This has led to some heated television exchanges and countless op-eds. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be anything, but, that does intrigue me. I'll put that into my miscellaneous. The first Anderson Maple Farm only used to be a popular tourist attraction during the summer months when it had special tours. However, it has since seen the explosion of off-season business as some religious and political groups decided to visit to show support for Elias and Gwyneth's traditional values and financial rights. Damn, dude. This rise in support was in turn followed by pickets from gay rights activists when some particularly inflammatory organizations made their pilgrimages. Boy oh boy. Amongst all this conflict, the farm has since shut down, seemingly indefinitely. The website says come back later, but has no date listed. The quotes from Bess Williams' book appear to have been taken down. Alright. Copy periodicals. Irrelevant, got it. Carl. Many websites and news articles eulogize him as well as his daughters and wife. No marital issues. You do come across an article about a Kristen Valdez who claims to have been Carl's sweetheart before Brenda. She does not make any claim about having had a child with him, she just appeared to be paid to talk about his early life. Most of it is boring. She says they met when he was sent to a private school near her hometown and broke up when he graduated and moved back to Butler County. Okay. Rhina? The website you used to initially place Rhina, Rose, and Riley is still up, though instead of the cheery pink background with purple text, it's now a more traditional black text on a white background. The young webmaster has turned the site into a memorial for the sisters and their father. It seems like she did end up getting her ears pierced like Rose after all. Regardless, there's no relevant information, just a picture of the girls with a sad MIDI piano playing in the background. From other higher profile sites, you find that a charity has been set up in the girl's name, the Roottrees Sisters Fashion Scholarship. Let me also look up the other two. Yeah. Was it Carly? Okay. Notable Roottrees. Yeah. We looked up Carl. We've not looked up Gwen, Miracle, or Jim yet. Or Lauren. Let's do Gwen first. Is that how you spell her name? Yes. Somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 50s. Her biggest role was in minor hit Guys Like Us. Oh! I didn't think that would actually have anything new. I'll just put that in, search it later and I'll read that when I get to it. Somewhat well-known. Oh, she died. Okay. She died in Paris, France about 3 weeks ago. After leaving Hollywood, she made no effort to stay in the limelight, and most of her obituaries tend to focus on her largest role, Guys Like Us. Not much is known about her death, except that it was announced that she died peacefully in her sleep while being treated for a sudden severe case of pneumonia. Before that, she apparently had been in relatively good health, according to her friends and family in Paris. She was 67. That says her name there. Okay. Lauren. In the wake of Six Pieces' release, Lauren Roottree, author of A Life Between Wars, was tracked down by a reporter as being one of the most upscale memory care facilities in Pittsburgh. She was relocated back to Pennsylvania when she began suffering from Alzheimer's. There was a minor backlash towards the reporter that tracked Lauren down because they were caught standing on the ladder holding their camera over the privacy wall to take a photo of Lauren and her son Clark sitting on a bench outside the small pond near the premises. Jesus fucking Christ, that's... Yeah. You know what, we'll just do Gwen Roottree passed away pneumonia. Lauren Roottree in memory care facility. Okay. God, fucking Miracle. We're skipping Miracle for now. We're going over to Jim. Jim and Diamond apparently sent out some mail to Diamond's Dazzlers that mentioned that they didn't spend a lot of time near or around the KMD company anymore, so they couldn't really comment on any of the recent news. A best-of album did get released as CD during Roottreemania, and while neither of them have performed recently, the couple did do a few signings at local record stores near their estate. During question and answer sessions, Jim has stated he hasn't been inspired to write any new lyrics. As far as you can tell, Jim and Diamond's marriage is still doing fine, and there have never been any rumors of infidelity about either of them. Good for them. Good for them. I will look up Diamond LaRue real quick. Alright. Okay, fuck it. Jim and Diamond, though. Yeah, I figured that that would relate just back to this. And that does as well. Alright. Okay, time to talk about Miracle. Seems Miracle Sr. is going on a new tour of the United States in late 1999. Previous flyer for 3 generations of Miracles has been replaced. Be a part of history. The oldest living Roottree reprises and retells his incredible true story. Ta-ta. Da-da-da-da-da. Miracle Roottree grew up as one of the famous 5 pieces, living a life of wealth and luxury. But fortune was nothing compared to the powerful force of the Almighty. Doctors determined he was destined to die young, but fate had other plans. He has lived a long and fruitful life. However, he's now in his 70s, and his age is beginning to make life on the road more difficult. Let me add that he's in his 70s. So consider this your last chance to see him in a town near you before he settles down. Okay, before he settles down. Okay, back in Pennsylvania. In this intimate evening, Miracle will reminisce about his famous history. He'll discuss his family's saints and sinners, provide a unique perspective on one of the most notable families in the United States today. Learn what originally drove him away from his fortune and into the arms of religion, and learn how his life has become more wealthy in spirit than it ever could have been from his inheritance. The site also lists the churches he will be appearing in, and mentions that the tickets can be purchased at their local services. Notably absent are any mentions about Miracle's news appearances. Pop that on in the highlights here. Now we're going to redirect here to Miracle Jr. Alright, nothing new about Miracle Jr. being called Miracle Jr. There's a part of me, I feel like I'm gonna quickly look up the other... I feel like I should look up the other 5 pieces, you know? Gwendolyn Roottree. Whoops. Okay, Gwendolyn Elias Jr. God, I can type. Elias Roottree Jr. Whoops. Okay, nothing new there. Edward Clancy's probably gonna have new stuff, so we'll come back to him. We've looked up Miracle. Let's go for Marguerite. I know how to type. And I do it well. The Clancy Trust is the Roottree Company's unusual legal arrangement. I mean, let me just quickly check here if I look this up. Yes. Is the Roottree Company, and this is just going to redirect back to, yeah, the candy company. their unusual legal arrangement, and the motivation for most of their major financial decisions. As a recap, the entire family earns directly from the SCSS. They all earn from the profits. Every Rootree can potentially have a say in the company's high-level operations. Historically, this has caused the family to be slow to approve any major expenditures that could significantly dig into the profits. After the release of 6 pieces by Sam Madsen, I believe that's already... yes. The clans and trust came under heavy scrutiny. Sam, her children, and her grandchildren should have all been covered under the trust according to the wording revealed in an internal family conflict between Ron and Robbie Roottree. I mean, are they already on here? Are they already in my to search? Yes. It seems that those who wrote the trust, Clancy Edward at the discretion of Elias, purposely deceived the rest of the family about the exact details about how it worked in an attempt to keep Sam and her father Edward Clancy, his own twin brother, in comparative poverty. Because the rest of the family made money hand over fist, they had very little motivation to question their understanding. Sam's book revealed this to the public, and it did not go over well. Clark Rafferty LaRue took over the company, and his most celebrated move was his first official one. He ensured Sam's family would get their share. To help facilitate this, the inheritance aspect of the trust is now under the control of a third party, Ruby Legal Enterprises. This ensures that the financial motivations of Roottree family members will not interfere with the investigations into potential new Roottrees. According to Clark's letter, however, some family members are still doing their best to slow the investigation by refusing to answer questions. Okay. Alright, and that was for Clancy Edward. Or Edward Clancy. That was for Clancy Edward. Now we can look up Edward Clancy. Nothing. Nothing about... I spelled him right, yeah? Okay. What about EC? Alright, damn. Nobody will ever know about him. Five pieces. Okay, nothing new there. Presidents of Roottree. We've already looked up Elias. Second president, I believe, was, yes, Zach Morden. How the fuck do you spell Zachariah? Zachariah. I spelled it right! Alright. I mean, we can always go over to the periodicals. Yeah, same thing here. Watchman of the Year, that's it. Yeah. We can also double check. Okay, third was Guy Hudson, I believe. Alright, we can go over to here. Guy Hudson, who was the only president of Roottree for a few years in the late 70s and early 80s, had mostly phased into obscurity, except for the Fancy Flavors debacle. I mean... this isn't gonna have any new information, is it? What? Okay. Give me back to Guy Hudson. There we are. Fancy Flavors I'm going to put later. I didn't read anything in it yet. During Roottreemania... oh no wait, these are the same. I straight up did not even realize that. During Roottreemania, he suddenly rose to prominence again after 5Ps appeared on the cover of a magazine holding a photo of Guy and his mother. A few people that existed adjacent to the company in the 70s have come forward with stories about debauchery and swinger parties. Guy liked to throw large holiday parties whenever he had an excuse, and they often got very out of hand. Ooh, baby. So yeah. We don't know exactly which one that is. We'll go ahead and put it here. Guy Hudson, father of 5 P's. Is that how it was spelled? Was it in all caps? No, it was not. I put that guy's name somewhere, didn't I? I forget where I put that. Yeah, I don't know why I put you here. Oh yeah, because you're the only notable. But... is this Guy? Felix Fellows. A few people that existed adjacent, yes, he did that. This fact has led some people to speculate that the night he died in the car crash he was drunk or impaired in some way, but the Butler County Police have released multiple statements with ample evidence that proves decisively that it was not foul play and that no party had taken place. Roottrees lawyers have been quick to threaten litigation to anyone who has tried to disparage Guy or the company in public. Okay, I have, you know what, I have the that written down. Okay, so that's Guy Hudson. Following Guy, the 4th president then would be Ernie Jr. And then Carl, who I believe I've already looked up. Yes. And then Clark Rafferty LaRue. New president of Roottree. Does not include Root, which appears to have a new leadership. In early March of 1999, about 5 months ago, it was announced that both Clark Rafferty LaRue and Ron Roottree would be taking over for what was essentially described as a transitional period in the aftermath of Six Pieces. About 2 weeks later, the company released a press statement that thanked Ron for his work, but announced that Clark was the new permanent president. Ooh, what happened with Ron? Okay. Most of the information about Clark you knew already. Many descriptions of him tend to focus on his advertising career and that his mother was Lauren Roottree. You seem to touch on his complex and volatile marital history. Since taking over, Clark has tried to remain out of the spotlight, but did have one notable foray into the public eye. He gained a lot of support when his first move was a statement in favor of accepting Sam and her family into the trust. This also served as an announcement that the Clancy Trust would no longer be handled by anyone in the family, since due to their financial motivation, none of them could ever be impartial. Okay, let's take Clark's name. We'll pop him in the periodicals, probably Business Watch here. Clark Rafferty LaRue, as well as Ruby Spratt and her company Ruby Legal Enterprises. We've heard about that before. We're gonna pop that in miscellaneous for now. And we'll also just can I highlight this here as well? Can it be in both? No. Alright. Well, I'll pop that in. That's not what I did. I guess I didn't hit Control-C. Copy. Paste. I'm in miscellaneous! God damn it. To search. I wanted it in here. And then I'm going to just go up to, where it was before. We'll delete that, and so that'll be the thing for both. There's an article about that process that interviews both Clark and Ruby. It seems that Ruby actually approached the Roottrees sometime in late March, after the Roottree rift, but well before Roottreemania. I keep wanting to say Beatlemania, I'm gonna be so real. An accompanied but relatively low-profile lawyer, she offered to work for very little money, so long as she could be a public face to build her reputation. The family quickly jumped on this chance, as many family members often attempt to spend as little as possible to keep their shares of the Clancy Trust as high as possible. After looking over the Clancy Trust more carefully than anyone had in years, Ruby came to the conclusion that Clancy Edward Roottree's implementation was not legally sound, and that there would be constant legal challenges without some modifications. The family decided to put her in charge of the trust both legally and as a public face to prevent further issues. Ruby Legal Enterprises has been described as a mix of a law firm and a PR firm. Her first move, as sort of a trial run before she was even hired permanently, was to help them draft a public statement accepting Sam into the family and declaring that they'd begin to address the Clancy Trust. This went quite well, and they've officially hired her in early April. Ruby Legal is now in charge of many financial aspects of the company, including verifying any claims to the trust and organizing the various charitable causes, such as scholarships that have been set up in the name of the deceased. That's interesting. Okay. I mean, my initial immediate thought is that Ruby is one of these affair people, right? You know? Like, obviously, and that would occur to me. Because she could be a child who wants that cash. Or she could be, you know, a jilted ex who also, you know, wants that cash. But, you know, who knows? Alright. These are other names I wanted to look up here. Ooh, image. It seems that Brian Jones has been busy updating Stephanie Jones's campaign website. 2 new sections exist. The first is Baby Photo. Woohoo! There, you see a picture of their new daughter. I'm great. You see a picture of their new family together in the hospital. According to the site, our daughter was named after her grandmother, which ended up being very fitting considering she was born the night before Christmas. Okay. Brian, Stephanie, and Brian Jones. New child, daughter, named after her grandmother. I'll just copy that. Second section is What's Next? There's not much of substance there right now, but it lists some small accomplishments and finishes with the recent rise in popularity and controversy surrounding my extended family, there has been some extra attention on me. Stay tuned for announcements in the coming months about how I plan to use this publicity to accomplish bigger and better things. I'll put that in here. Okay. Well, that's Stephanie. Let's double check Brian. I'm guessing it'll... yeah. But if I can look up Brian Jones over here as well. What was the name of his company? Jones Graphic and Print. The website is unchanged, except it lists a few new clients. Although all of them are in and around Butler County, none of them appear to be related. Alright. After the release of 6 pieces, Caroline Morden did a television interview. Someone has uploaded a partial transcript of that interview on the television section of a messaging community. The transcript is only her answers and is missing the questions. This creates a somewhat confusing reading experience, but does give you a bit more history about Caroline and some of her other family members. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to quickly add Make this Brian Jones. And this be Stephanie. And then this will be their kid, who's going to have the last name of Jones. And it will be named after their grandmother, Caroline, or Eloise. Fitting because November. It would be Jones, and it would be either Eloise or... Well, Eloise isn't an option, so it's Caroline. Carol? Carol. Right? You said... the kid's grandmother or your grandmother? Yes. So it would be Carol, then. Or that babby. And Steph, you are a politician, yes? Yes. Alright, alright, alright. Let's continue over here. I know we have the new evidence. I want to do all this first. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Chris Raff 75. His prodigy site seemed to have been discovered by the masses. Gone are the art pictures of his cousins. Instead, it's a list of yes, this is Chris. Yes. It's a list of questions that people keep emailing him. The relevant ones are the following. Are you the son of Clark Rafferty? Yes, but I didn't grow up with him. I remember him from when I was a little kid, but I moved away with my mom when I was very young. We left Pennsylvania and moved back home to Virginia. We lived there with Pete, my stepdad. My dad and I spoke a few times when I found his phone number on a check he sent us in the mail when I was 15. He was happy to hear from me and now calls me once a month and came to visit me at college. He tells me things I don't he tells me about things I don't remember and people like Guy Hudson and Ernie Madsen. My dad and I get along, but we obviously aren't very close. I'll put that in miscellaneous. Chris Rafferty. His new stepdad. Named Pete. Did you ever meet the Roottrees? I used to know the Roottrees, but never the sisters. I was in the office sometimes when I was a kid, and I definitely met Guy Hudson before he died, but I don't remember. My memory is weird. It's hard to know what I actually remember and what I only think I do because I have pictures. For example, I have a photo from when I was 5 and in the office with my dad and Guy was there. I made myself sick by eating chocolate and some woman I don't know cleaned my face. I don't know if my memories of that come from the picture or not. Photos have been added to your evidence. Okay. That makes me feel like this might be an affair partner of Guy's, considering that I'm assuming that Felix's father is Guy. You know, that's possible. And if so, then that guy got around. You know? How did you have proof of Ernie Madsen's heart condition? I knew Ernie had a heart problem because my dad told me on one of our phone calls. I asked him about the poison because I saw it on the Roottrees Curse website. He emailed some old stuff including proof, but even with the proof the website didn't take it down. You spelled fiancé wrong. I'm not good at spelling or writing. I'm good at painting and other art. I'm going to school to learn how to edit movies. I want to make cartoons someday. Lulu's much better at spelling. Aw. That's really cute. Da-da-da-da-da. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the Roottrees Curse now. During your initial search, you came across Thomas Overwood's conspiracy page about the Roottrees. 8 months later, the page still exists and is thriving. The visitor counters reached 7 digits! Holy shit! I'm gonna be so real, at first I thought that said it's reached 7. But no, 7 digits is crazy. Many older articles have been replaced. It seems that the recent uprising in Roottree news has left Thomas Overwood with a constant stream of events to base new theories on. More than one of his theories involve Roottree deaths being faked. According to Overwood, statistically, when you have this many high-profile people who have died in a family, the odds are that one of them faked their death. It's just math. This newfound focus on death faking seems to coincide with a post mentioning he's begun believing the "guy's not dead" theory. In his own words, "My eyes have been opened. All of this is beginning to make too much sense." One of his posts details the belief that Ron Roottree is still in charge, when Roottree's death was faked, and that Clark is only there to throw people off. Apparently, this allowed Ron to travel to France to develop a new candy recipe in secret. Another is about the rapper 5Ps. He can't possibly be a Roottree. One of his first album songs, when he was performing under the devil name, actually mentioned that he wanted to have sex with Rhina. The devil name. I'll keep that, I guess, in my miscellaneous? Not even Sam Madsen is spared. According to Overwood, the author of 6 Pieces isn't real. Sam Madsen is an anagram for Am Madness. They're purposely leaving hints for us. He claims that by using 6 Pieces with Lauren Roottree's book as a one-time pad, he begun to decrypt a cipher. Oh boy. Most of the cipher seemed meaningless, but he managed to pick out the words people and vastness and is working on figuring out what it means. There's also a request at the bottom. Next year, 2000, is a leap year, and Overwood is looking for funds and volunteers to catch the Roottrees red-handed in Operation RT29. He specifically mentions not to volunteer if you've ever drunk Spirit Cola, but doesn't go into why. I remember looking that up before. When he said Y2K, I thought he was going to be talking about Y2K, but no, it's the fact that it's a leap year. I mean, we can double-check Spirit Cola real quick. Yeah. Ba-ba-bum. Okay, nothing new there. Okay, same page. Got it. That's that for that. November Roottree. Yes, Brian Jones's company was Jones Graphic and Print. Website is unchanged, right? Yes. So nothing about November Dance Studio or whatever. Alright. Alright, these fucking guys. Ron was announced as president of Roottree during the Roottree Rift, but the next press release immediately reversed the announcement and instead stated that Ron and Clark would take over. A few weeks later, Ron was dropped from the title entirely. There are hundreds of results about this development, but most articles are retelling of basic details. Some veer into heavy speculation based on an article about Ron in Business Watch. Ron has also done some interviews stating that the truth of what went on behind the scenes is not something he wishes to discuss. Instead, he hopes to release a movie about it someday. 3 weeks ago, his mother Gwen died in Paris. He and his brother Robbie have seemingly made amends. That's good. I'll double check that with Robbie. Released from French prison after serving for a few years for assault, his embezzlement and arrest were partially featured in 6 Pieces, as Robbie's participation in the Clansed Trust was a key piece of evidence in Sam's favor, and have since become much more publicly infamous. He has not yet returned to the United States, but when journalists reached out to him recently after the death of his mother, he had issued a blanket statement a few days ago. The death of my mother was hard on our family. My brother and I, after spending time together caring for her and mourning, I finally made amends. It was a highly transformative few weeks when it came to our relationship. I'm in recovery from my addiction, and a major aspect of that process is that I wish to stay private. Fair enough. Miscellaneous. Robbie and Ron have forgiven each other. Robbie recovering from addiction. Good for him. Good for him. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I mean, what about Brother Trouble? Anything new here? No, damn. Okay. Yeah, Sam's father was a steel guy. Not Sam's father, Patricia Christensen. Christensen Steel. Was that in the periodicals then? How do you spell Christensen? Oh, it's with an E. And I added an I by accident. Ba-ba-bum. Yes, nothing relevant currently. Steamy correspondence by Tina Angelina. Let's double check here. I mean, it's probably irrelevant, right? Alright, nothing there. Aloysius Herring Root Tree. Yeah. Nothing there. I never looked this up. Oh, they got rid of it. Could the author published under a different name than the one you searched for? What do you mean? Elias Jr.? Who wrote the book? Oh, it's a different one, right, yeah, that was the, one of these mentioned that, like, a book had been removed, right, I remember that now. I thought that said bye. I definitely looked that up then. Lauren's other books, I don't think I need to look those up. But I really want to. A Life Between Wars, yeah. I mean, it was the Court Jester series, right? Yeah, okay, no, fine. Caroline Morden. After the release of 6 Pieces, Caroline Morden did a TV interview. Someone has uploaded a partial transcript. Okay, yes, I've already read this. And I've already gotten that. 6 Pieces, Sam Madsen's book. I also want to double check over here. Is there anybody else I would want to look up? I think this is fine. I think if I need to look anybody else up, they'll probably seem relevant, you know? Well, let me look up Candy Root Tree. Okay. I forget the name of her band. It's cut off. I'll never know! Okay, we'll look at this up here first, and then we'll look it up in the library. 6 Pieces, an Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family, by Sam Madsen, was released in early 1999, and perhaps assisted by the still relatively recent plane crash, shot to the top of the charts. Reviews were mixed, and its time on the bestsellers list was limited to only 2 months. Most reviewers agree that the core of the book was about the core of the book, about Samantha's fathers and the struggles they faced, was compelling, and that the takedown of the hypocrisy of Elias Roottree was deserved. However, many took umbrage with the timing of the release and the tone of the book, which seemed vindictive. The fallout from the book led to the Roottree Company scrambling to release a statement, and due to a conflict of leadership, famously released multiple conflicting official statements over 3 days. This confusing move was referenced by popular culture due to a late-night sketch about indecisionitis, but more traditional analysts have been taken to calling it the Roottree Rift. A few months later, due to Roottreemania, the book re-entered the charts and sold even better than the first time. I mean, do I have Roottreemania on here? Yes, I do. And I think I have the Rootree Rift on here multiple times. Okay. Just double checking here. Have I looked up Sam? Yes, I have. Okay. Well, I mean, I hadn't, but that was basically me doing that. You know what, let's go ahead and do this one. Sam Madsen. Sam Madsen's book was released earlier this year, and details the truth about Elias Roottree, as well as Sam's fathers Edward Clancy Roottree and John Miller. You helped verify her story, so much of the book's core contents are familiar to you. That said, Sam had some sections on other family secrets and rumors. Much of it didn't matter to the primary purpose of the book, and some of it is new to you and may be important to your new search. These sections have been added to your notes. Hell yeah. Indecisionitis was a disease coined by a popular sketch show as part of a fake pharmaceutical advertisement for JIT Together. While the segment wasn't fully about the Roottree Candy Company, it was released in the weeks after their bizarre response to the release of 6 pieces by Sam Madsen and references the recent news. In the sketch, a woman ordered a number 5 at a drive-thru speaker, and then after pulling forward, she changed her mind at the window, asking to switch it to a number 3. This caused a lengthy backup and annoyance amongst the restaurant's employees and other patrons. After she pulled away, as the employees began helping other customers, the same woman then barged into the restaurant and passed the current line, loudly complaining that she didn't receive her number 5. After this, the sketch transitioned from the restaurant scene into a pharmaceutical commercial. A doctor claims that the woman was suffering from indecisionitis, a disease that causes extreme confusion and irritability, a disease that, and has recently been found to severely hinder the leaders of large corporations, but could also spread to humans. The doctor then recommends JIT Together, a fake pharmaceutical drug. Multiple testimonials use variations of the catchphrase, "And I can't make my tough decisions? I've got to get my JIT together." The final testimonial included a bald man in silhouette with a voice changer saying, "I'm not comfortable sharing who I am, but I'm comfortable saying that before I took over my family's candy company, I really should have gotten my JIT together." I mean, that's probably gonna... Yeah, that's... That part especially great. I don't think this is anything. Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, that's nothing. Let's look up Root. The Root website has a small memorial section to the deceased members of the family, but it contains new information. The most recent catalog, Spring 1999, had an entirely black cover with no text on it. On the leadership page, you learn that Root is currently managed by a designer who was apparently Brenda White's second-in-command. You don't recognize her name, but she seems unrelated to your research. There's also a scholarship page. On it, you find information about the Roottrees Sisters Fashion Scholarship. It is awarded to 3 underprivileged high school girls each year who wish to pursue a career in fashion. Apparently, it also gives them an opportunity to show off their designs on professional models on a real runway. According to their site, the fund was created directly from shares that would have contributed to the inheritance of the Roottrees sisters if they were still alive. like the other aspects of the Clancy Trust, it's managed by Ruby Legal Enterprises. Okay. I mean, do we have anything new here? If I look that up. Yeah. I believe I've already looked up lore in Roottree, haven't I? Yes, I have. I mean, I don't think anything would be new here. Oh! When revisiting Lauren's book, there's a single passage that focuses on potential affairs in her immediate family. You've added it to the rest of your evidence. Nice. Ba-ba. There we are. The Guy's Not Dead conspiracy stems from a website that focuses on clues that the Roottrees have, supposedly, hid all over the place. This includes on candy wrappers, in print advertisements, in television commercials, in their triangles, etc. I love that we have the fucking Guy's Not Dead theory, and this is also Roottreemania. It's so Beatles. It's... I don't know why. I'm pretty sure... Now look, I may not be an expert, but I'm pretty sure the Beatles all happened before this. Before 1999. I mean, I don't know exactly when the Paul's Dead conspiracy thing happened. Exactly. But, you know. Beatlemania, I don't think, was 99. The story, according to the website, is that Guy Hudson was a terrible president of the Roottree Company, true, and introduced multiple failed products, at least one. Something needed to be done that would put the company immediately and instantly back in the favor of consumers. So they killed off Guy Hudson and replaced him with a new president. This move immediately garnered sympathy, and the company recovered the next year, more popular than ever. The next president stayed much further out of the limelight, and some people even theorized that he was simply Guy Hudson in an elaborate disguise, which is why he stopped appearing in public. The people who run the site are asking for help. They're certain there's a clue to all of this that accidentally leaked in a banned article from the magazine Piketty. On their page is a scan of the magazine's cover, the interview with Cicely Sanchez about Guy Hudson, and some photos. Is a category of flower with an outline around the edges of its petals. Okay. The Piketty magazine is a publication that, as far as you can tell, has no consistent theme. It tends to contain tabloid-esque articles that appeal to a wider variety of audiences and appears in many grocery stores near the checkout line. Unlike traditional tabloids, it doesn't typically feature celebrities on the cover. Instead, it tends to latch onto and create sensationalist headlines about whatever subject appears to be popular at any given time. In recent years, this has included Beanie Babies, Magic Eye images, and even Red Bull. I feel like these are nothing, but there was something in reality, but I don't think anything here. It has often come under fire for printing fiction along with facts. Piketty gets around this by stating in every issue that all of its articles are, quote, all the hearsay that's fit to print, unquote. At one point, Piketty ran an article about Cicely Sanchez, an author. She claims to have written an unread book about Guy Hudson. The article was not even the main focus of the issue, yet the magazine was threatened legally by the Roottrees Corporation. That particular issue, the Big Sass Sea Bass issue, was pulled from shelves. It has now become a collector's item, especially amongst conspiracy theorists attempting to figure out what the Roottrees Company was hiding. You find a recently finished online auction that listed a copy at over $1,000, though nobody bid. Let's do a quick Beanie Baby check. Plural? No? Red Bull? Oh my god. Magic Eyes? What? You're telling me these are not relevant at all? What? You know what? I can also tell you, chat. is that it's that time of stream. If you need to go to the bathroom, or if you need to grab a snack, or if you need to get something to drink, now's gonna be a perfect time to do so, because we're about to experience 3 minutes of ads. The game will be paused, you won't miss out on anything, but it's a great time if you need to fix your posture, take your meds, save your files, unclench your jaw, feed your pets, charge your devices, and do some stretches. Please take care of yourself. Please and thank you. Come on. Look at me, aren't I, like, can you say no to this face? Come on. Blink, 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 blink. I'm blinking at you. Does that make you want to take care of yourself? Does that work? I'm trying new technology. God, this initial scramble of, like, finding out everything. Oh, it's addictive. Best feeling in the world. Looking up information. Being like, oh, there's so much things that I can find out. Oh, the clues! Oh, it's brilliant. I love it. God, I'm so glad that there was more game per game. Oh. At the beginning of the stream, I was like, I'm probably beating it unless, you know, something happens, but probably I'm beating it. That's because in my mind, I was like, I hope that there's more. I was like, there's no way. So I'm not gonna say it out loud. But I'm like, I hope that I solve the mystery, and then there's more. I didn't know about this. I'm so glad. Oh, it's delightful. It's great. I'm having a grand old time. It's so good. God, this game fucking rules. I don't even have shit about any affairs. I'm just learning more about the Roottrees. The only affair shit I know about is the 5Ps stuff. That is, like, the obvious stuff. These emotes are great. Oh, you guys can't see, but I had the plushie that I had in my lap. I'm just holding it really high above my head right now, and I don't know why. Sometimes you just have the instinct to pick something up. I'm just holding a guy above my head. And now I'm putting him back down in my lap. This guy's fucking huge. He's like from my elbow to the end of my palm, you know, like right before my fingers start. In height. In width? From elbow to mid-palm. Now you just gotta figure out how big my arms are. Alright. Ads should be over. Welcome on back. Let's continue looking things up around here. Big Sass Sea Bass? Big Sass Sea Bass is a talking fish that sits on a fake mount on your wall. When you press the button, speak into it, it mimics your voice and then insults you. Many people consider it a ripoff of a more popular wall-mounted communication-based fish decoration, but the packaging makes it clear that this one does not sing. Instead, what the advertisements say set Big Sass Sea Bass apart from its competitors is, quote, a sardonic and sarcastic wit that will leave you reeling with laughter. It's oceans of fun for the whole family. You'll be hooked on this big sassy bass, unquote. The words reeling, oceans, and hooked are conveniently bolded to ensure you recognize how clever the copywriter was. Oh boy, recently it appeared on the cover of Piketty magazine in the same issue that a Roottree-related article appeared. That issue was removed from stores after Roottrees sued the magazine. It's become a collector's item, yada yada. Okay. Cicely Sanchez is an author best known for Portrait of a Changed Man, released in 1979. Her follow-up, Foreign Gospel, 1984, did not perform as well critically, but still sold quite respectably. She's written a few more books since then, including a biography of Van Gogh, but her first two are her claim to fame. I'll see if I can find that. According to a site about authors, Cicely is known for her nonfiction, with a focus on exploring darkness in the human psyche. Recently, Cicely appeared in a magazine called Piketty, article about a book she'd been commissioned to write for Guy Hudson, immediately issued a cease and desist due to its inclusion of pictures that she never had the rights to publish. Intriguing, intriguing. Okay, I've looked up all of these here. Well, not that one, but you know, let's go to a bit of this. Piketty. It helps if you have your hands positioned on the keyboard in a correct manner. In an issue that focused on a talking toy fish and the demonic messages it supposedly said as the batteries ran low, Piketty had an article about a cancelled book by Cicely Sanchez. The book's subject was Guy Hudson, and the issue was said to contain pictures that Cicely did not have the rights to publish. Because of the pictures, the issue was pulled from store shelves, making it a subject of some conspiracies and an instant collector's item. Due to this recall, the version found in these archives is incomplete. What can it tell me about Big Sass Seabass? No. Well, if this does conspiracy stuff... Or was it Operation? What was it? It was RT-29. Operation, yeah. Let's just do RT-29. Okay. Guy's not dead? What were the other conspiracy stuff? Is that his name? Yeah. 5 Ps. Spirit Cola. Okay. Just wanted to double check all that. Okay. Let's do Guys Like Us. 1953, comedy film in which two secretaries cut their hair short and pose as businessmen to get ahead in life until one of them falls in love with their client and hilarity ensues. Starring Gwen Roottree, Leslie Florence, Harrison Lane. Popular at the box office and made its budget back, but was seen as somewhat formulaic, didn't really stand the test of time compared to other classic films of the era. Recently released for the first time on home video due to Roottreemania. The time it took to manufacture and ship VHS copies of Guys Like Us meant that it missed the height of the craze, which only lasted a few weeks. Even so, it did sell modestly well, and there have been talks of a remake. Wow. Let's look up these other guys. Leslie Florence was the other actress besides Gwen Roottree in Guys Like Us. For Guys Like Us, she was in few very small supporting roles, and her performance in Guys Like Us was generally thought of as quite good, especially considering she got second billing to Gwen. Even with the success and acclaim, she retired from Hollywood almost immediately after her co-starring role. Not much was known about her until recently, when Guys Like Us was re-released right at the tail end of Roottreemania. Recently, as a part of the myriad of articles and research people have done into the shows surrounding the Roottrees, it came out that she died of a genetic disease known as Huntington's in the late 1960s. That's a shame. Let's spider search Harrison Lane. Nothing new there. I do want to search up Wild Bill Williams. Did anything else come out about him? Wild Bill Williams, an actor known for his role in Fortune Favors the Grave, did not make an appearance at Gwen Roottree's funeral. Because of his absence, there are rumors online he must have already died, but according to a reporter that tracked him down, he's in his 70s, still lives in Paris, and is in perfectly fine health. He even went on the record as saying, "I think it was Mark Twain who said, the rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. That seems appropriate today. The few years I spent with Gwyn were just one stop along the very long and complicated journey that has been my life and career. The last time we spoke was when I signed the divorce papers. She asked me to never contact her or the kids again. I've always respected those wishes. They never reached out to me either, even as adults, so I have to assume they had some idea why she hated me so much and the sacrifices she made on my behalf. I wish them well, and I'm sorry for their loss, but we've all been strangers for 40 years, so I can confidently say they wouldn't have wanted me to be there. In fact, I'm confident my presence would have ruined it. Damn! That is way more emotionally intelligent than I was expecting from Wild Bill Williams. I'm gonna be so real. Okay, nothing there. I mean, I think we've already looked up Clark. Yeah. Let's see here. I want to go for this article about Ron in Business Watch. Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Roottree rift about what really happened with Roottree. The article mentions that nobody from Roottree that they reached out to was willing to go on the record. Instead, the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and, quote, a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. I think this is something I can put on here. Business Watch. Business Watch. Source on the inside of Roottrie family. The timeline says the family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl Roottree died, but before the release of 6 pieces, decided they wanted Ron Roottree to take over because of his experience running RR Productions, and because he was a well-known and well-respected Roottree. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the Clanson Trust to remove Robbie Roottree. The family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ron became frustrated with the delay. When 6 pieces came out, he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight and released the press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos within the family. They tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark, but according to Business Watch's source, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the Clancy Trust, and eventually they let him go. After that, the role passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about, but seemed like the safest choice. Damn, because I don't believe I looked up RR Productions back. I have no projects in development other than Guys Like Us remake. Damn. I mean, do we have any info on it? Guys Like Us remake has been discussed a few times on a website about upcoming films called Movie News. These are real people, aren't they? The rumored cast is Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz and Chris O'Donnell both sound like familiar names. Like, for you? Yeah, isn't that Fiona and Shrek, or am I insane? They are? I know that these are probably maybe not maybe not the most cultural reference. Well, I mean Shrek, but I'm just like, this is Fiona and Shrek, right? And then this name also sounds familiar. I don't know who this is. According to leaked news, the remake has been put on an indefinite hiatus due to its director, who is speculated to be Ron Roottree, dropping out in the wake of a serious medical issue, though that is only a rumor. Okay. Robin and Batman and Robin. That's why it sounds familiar. Okay. Nothing there new. Nothing there moo. Okay. Let's see here. I'm like, we have so many things that we can go down. I've been trying to go for things that seem like they would be less, but I think we gotta go for the big ones. The coroner and Men in Black! Oh! Okay. Roottrees Rift. The 3 press releases from the Roottrees Candy Company after the release of 6 pieces were referred to as the Roottrees Rift due to their clear conflicts between them. The first was fairly standard. It stated that there was no president of the Roottrees Company, but that the entire family was made aware of the release of the book and that they would be meeting as soon as possible. Only then could they verify the legitimacy of the claims it raised and decide the next steps. The second release was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced that after a vote, Ron Roottrees would be taking over temporarily as interim president. It also went on to state that Ron was aware of the book, had verified the claims within, and would look into compensating Mrs. Madsen and her family immediately. It also stated that the company lawyers would be taking immediate steps with the family to revisit the Clancy Trust terms to, quote, make sure nothing like this could ever happen again, unquote. It was quickly clear to business reporters and analysts that the time between the 2 press releases would not have been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family, even using conference calls. This was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day. It claimed that a draft of the announcement was made prematurely, and that Clark Rafferty LaRue and Ron Roottrees would be taking over as the company's first joint presidents. It also stated that any compensation plan would be based on a, quote, stringent verification, unquote, process. Interesting. Alright, I mean, that's pretty much everything we got. We knew that. God, I'm so interested in 5Ps, I gotta wait. Okay, let's go for 3 Generations of Miracles. Oh, no, okay. Nothing new there, then. I thought there would be something there. Hence why I put it over here. Best of Jim and Diamond. No? Because that was their thing, right? It was Jim and Diamond? Okay. Let's go for... I mean, let's look up Kristen Valdez. I don't know if she's going to have anything, though. Yeah. I'll put her in miscellaneous. That didn't do anything, because I have to do this first. Okay. Let's go next for, let's go to the public library bit here. Cicely Sanchez. Let me quickly look up Van Gogh. Yeah, I didn't think anything would pop up for that. Portrait of a Changed Man. Out of print. Book's description is this to say: what if everything you stand for, everything you know to be true today, could disappear in an instant? All of your politics, relationships, gone in the blink of an eye. Would you still be you? Cicely Sanchez tells this powerful true story about a man who woke up after being saved from drowning in his backyard pool and became an entirely different person. Included are interviews from those that knew him best before, as well as one-on-one chat that paints an entirely different picture. You won't be able to put it down without wondering, What if that were me? Foreign Gospel. Out of print as well. Tells the tale of a man from the Catholic Church who claims that he was told by God that he should travel to Thailand and begin to preach, specifically with the goal to convert 10,000 people. He returned to the US after just over 2 short years, claiming to have succeeded. This book tells his version of the story, but the author, Cicely Sanchez, also traveled to Thailand to investigate these claims and talk with some of the so-called converted. Damn go? No? Okay, wanted to check. Ba-ba-ba. Let's go for... We'll go for Roottreemania. Roottreemania immediately followed the announcement that a rapper going by 5Ps was actually a root tree. Collectively, popular culture seemed to focus on the Roottrie family, and 5Ps, for a few weeks after everything felt oversaturated, and society moved on. Because of the 5Ps saga, an underlying through line to how pop culture treated Roottreemania was an excuse for everyday people to claim they were also root trees. Daytime talk shows had I'm a Secret Root Tree episodes. Late-night hosts and guests made jokes about other lost members of the family. And there was a widely shared website where you could fill in your own name to find out if you were a secret root tree. When you submitted your name, it simply said no with an image of Crafferty LaRue giving you the finger. That's funny. I like that. Roottreemania lasted only a few weeks, just long enough for 6 pieces to re-enter the charts, and to trigger new printings of other Root Tree-related media. This included Lauren's diaries, VHS releases of Gwen's old movies, as well as countless other unauthorized biographies, which mostly seemed to attempt to capitalize on the Root Tree sisters Carl and Brenda. I'm gonna put that in miscellaneous. I don't think there's anything I can look up about that right now, but that could come in handy. These re-releases were too late to successfully capitalize on or extend the craze. As a result, most of them were failures, and countless novelty shirts that had variations of I'm a secret root tree became immediately unfashionable, though some people still wear them, ironically. Alright. Here's Anonymom and Jane Doe Root Tree. Yeah, let's go for that. Anonymom was the second high-profile case, after Felix Fellows, of a potential new root tree being added to the Clancet Trust. Instead of claiming herself a root tree, however, she claimed she'd slept with Guy Hudson and that her daughter was a root tree. The accusation came during the height of Roottreemania and began with a brief TV interview. She appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in News Time. In the TV interview in the article, she referred to her daughter as Jane Doe Root Tree. The name Anonymom was not self-inflicted, it seemed to spring up organically because nobody knew how else to refer to her. The day after the Newstime article, Sam Madsen publicly supported Anonymom due to some parts of the story she found, quote, particularly credible, unquote. With the momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymom went on a media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired. As more details came out, people became skeptical of her story due to extreme similarity to 5P's. Her accusation even included many of the same details as his mother's story. This included her job, secretary, and the time period, late 70s. That would be him here, First Affairs 3.1. Felix Fellows, aka 5Ps. Mother secretary in the 1970s. Father Guy Hudson. I think we can put this down as Guy. I believe he was the third, is that right? Yes. And here we are. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. After fumbling the 5-piece story so publicly, the Roottrees were more prepared to handle all Clancy Trust-related cases. Within a week, a DNA test proved that Anonymom's daughter could not be related to the Roottrees. This was announced at a joint press conference with lawyers representing both Anonymom and the Roottrees. Each party ensured their respective clients provided accurate samples. Immediately after the negative results were released, many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others, who had built up hope that history could repeat itself after 5Ps, felt duped. Many people suspected the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money. Many demanded that Anonymom be held accountable, and some people even began to track down her true identity. The Roottree Company felt pressured to put out a second statement to try and curb some of the backlash, even going as far to say, though it was scientifically proven that Jane Doe Roottree is not a Roottree, this doesn't mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in an affair. She had every right to make her claim, as it has been verified that her stories about Guy Hudson were not exaggerations. Please leave their family alone. Many people claim this high-profile anti-climax and public backlash was the beginning of the end for Roottreemania. Since much of the fun was the shared fascination about secret Roottrees, others think that, like any fad, it just ran its course casually. Naturally. I know how to speak. Regardless, this was the final notable event that related to the release of 6 pieces, and soon things went back to normal. Jane Doe Roottree has already been eliminated as a potential new Roottree by the company's lawyers, who are the ones verifying your work. Anonymom's affair does not appear on your updated tree. Okay. I mean, let's just double check as well. Nothing there as well. Those are the same. Let's go for news time. Major news periodical releases a new issue every week. 5Ps appeared on the cover, claiming to be a Roottree. Ba-ba-ba. 1 week later, Miracle Roottree did the same, denying that he was. Because of this high-profile back-to-back discourse right before the start of Roottreemania, they appear to be the de facto publication to get news about the ongoing Roottrie saga. They reported record subscriber numbers during this time, which lasted until the end of Roottreemania, when the world generally stopped paying much attention and they went back to reporting on more traditional news. News time appears to be available via your periodical research. Okay. Let's go to news time. I want to start off with Anonymom. An anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time, holding a picture of her daughter, Jane Doe Roottree. The first and only mention of the phrase Anonymom in News Time came the week after, when they issued an apology for featuring her in the first place. A summary of the initial cover article has been added to your evidence. Okay. Let's go for Ruby. Ruby Spratt, like her legal company, is relatively elusive. The most complete source of information you can find from before her time with the Roottrees is from a website for a magazine owned by a major airline. She was the subject of one article from a recurring series about modern-day success stories. Ruby grew up in foster care, but excelled at school and earned a scholarship to study at Mid-Eastern University. There, she graduated at the top of her legal class and was quickly hired as a lawyer for a prominent firm. There are a few high-profile corporate-involved cases she was a part of. One was as a legal consultant for a class-action lawsuit against a manufacturer of steering wheel covers. Another was to help a local gas station chain in her hometown of Portland with the rollout of a promotion that allowed gas station customers the ability to bet on the price of gas. Interesting. The blurb ends by calling her new firm a double threat. Her company's services are a cross between a traditional lawyer and a PR manager. I guess I'll add that in miscellaneous. Ruby Spratt is from Portland. assumedly Portland, Oregon? There's other Portlands, but I'm assuming it's the famous one. Alright. I mean, I want to take her real quick and then copy her name, periodicals, bap. Newstime briefly covered a lawsuit between Ruby Spratt and Piketty magazine surrounding Cicely Sanchez. They said that Cicely did not have the rights to redistribute the photos in the magazine of Guy Hudson. Piketty apparently announced they would be pulling their issue the following day, the moment that Ruby Legal Enterprises threatened them. This caused the issue to sell faster than any other in the magazine's history, though only for a day. Even people that would never dare have, I added that word, that would never have normally purchased it went out of their way to buy one, just in case it would be worth something someday. It especially caught the eye of conspiracy theorists, who assumed that anything worth suing over would have to be hiding something. An expert legal analyst from Newstime states that it was unlikely that Ruby could have had the story pulled if it had gone to court, and Piketty likely got more eyes on it than it would have if the Roottrees just ignored the story. I'd like to look up everything as well. That's what I was expecting. I was gonna look up this as well. Okay. So, Ruby Legal Enterprises. Since I think that these will come up at some point, let's put those back in miscellaneous so I can remember. Name of the law firm that's been hired by the Roottree Candy Company, named after its head lawyer. Can't find much about the company from before this year, though all of the articles tell the same tale. After the fiasco of 6 Pieces and the revelation that the Roottree's internal law group was complicit in such a cover-up, they hired outside counsel. Multiple ties to the group now seems to have ties to multiple aspects of RCC, including the Candy and Root. They were recently in the news due to a high-profile lawsuit they raised against Cicely Sanchez. Okay. I really want to save Roottree for last year, and by Roottree I meant to say 5Ps, so let's look up these other people who appear in this letter. Kurt Johnson and Mark Sanchez were the pilot and co-pilot of the Roottree jet during its crash last December. Although the NTSB investigation has not been released, foul play has been ruled out. Trish King was on the cabin crew of the Roottree's private jet. Elizabeth Nicholson, who went by Eliza, lived in a house with her family about 200 yards from the section of the woods where the plane crashed. She reportedly had a heart attack during the commotion, and her family were unable to reach emergency services due to the overwhelmed phone lines and the ongoing storm. Her son-in-law managed to flag down an officer responding to the plane crash, but it was too late. It's interesting that she's mentioned as perishing in the plane crash for the— like, yeah, I get that. Interesting. I'm gonna keep this... or, like, let me go here. We're gonna put this in the miscellaneous. Maybe in the periodicals? Interesting. What about Trish? What was her last name? King. No. Alright. Okay. It's 5Ps time. 5Ps, aka Felix Fellows, is a rapper who found some recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as a long-lost Roottrie and entitled to part of their fortune. His alias, 5Ps, is a play on 5 pieces. An article you find on a website known for their particularly harsh reviews of modern music gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star, out of 7 for whatever reason, with the headline, "More poser than my action figure collection." We'll take that. The review mentions that his real name is David. 5Ps or the author? And he used to go by Dirty Davy, and the author rused the fact that this rebranding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when he was 16. Apparently, only one of the songs on the album is new, and the others are simply rewritten to turn blatant references to sex, drugs, and violence into clumsy euphemisms. Okay. So Felix Fellows is a fake name by this guy? Real name David Dirty Davy. Mother overdosed. Overdosed when 5Ps was 16. I know where the numbers are on the keyboard without looking for sure. His rise to prominence was kickstarted when he appeared a few months ago on the cover of a News Time holding a photo of his mother with Guy Hudson. At first, Roottrees family denied it. Miracle even appeared on the same magazine a week later, but since then, they backtracked and publicly welcomed him into the family. A press release at the time stated that they had new evidence that confirmed their story. Okay. Let me look up Dirty Davy. David Fellows, yes. According to fan sites, Felix Fellows is not 5P's actual name. His birth name was David Fellows. Dirty Davy was 5P's previous stage name. He used to sell records and perform live shows in Portland under that name. There are some people selling his old mixtapes on audition sites. One is apparently called Dirty Devil and another Dirt Poor. Back over here. His first name wouldn't be Felix then, it would be David. I didn't mean to click on that. I realized that the number went down. I'm like, I clicked on something over here. Fuck! Okay. Dirty Devil. First mixtape, released as Dirty Davy from the early 90s. Discrepancies and debates about what year exactly it was released based off of some pop culture references, with the range thought to be somewhere between 92 and 94. One of the songs, Yes I Can Jump, seems to be at the center of the confusion. Some fan sites claim there are multiple versions, with different track lists and song lengths on them. Thank you, Artificer. Though because there's very little evidence of the mixtape online as it is, it's even harder to verify that information. I think I can put this in here. In 3.1, rather. Dirty Devil. First mixtape. Ba-ba-ba. Dirt Poor. Dirt Poor. Mixtape. A lot of discourse from people point out that in one of the songs, Felix Fellows includes someone that would be revealed to be his own distant cousin in a list of attractive women. The lyrics to one of the songs, Heat, one song called Heat, mentions a few different prominent female actresses, models, and musicians from the 90s, and provides a crude pun or line about what Fellows felt about them. When re-released in '99, much of the rhetoric was toned down to be utterly less overtly profane, and the line referencing Raina was clumsily replaced by Dana, a reference to a character from The X-Files. Heat... Dirte Davy. Okay. You've looked up Dirt Poor now. Scully. Yeah, oh yeah, it is Dana Scully, isn't it? We can get rid of that. Root of all evil. Five Pieces debut album. Over here. You dressed as her for a costume party? Nice. According to various sources, the album is mostly material that 5Ps recorded for his mixtapes before he became notable, but re-recorded with lyrical differences and professional production. All Your Problems was the first and only single release. After dropping the single, 5Ps announced he'd retained infamous celebrity lawyer Stevie Whitlock to sue his family. To date, it seems like he hasn't followed through. Stevie Whitlock. At first, the single didn't make much of a splash, but Whitlock, known for publicity stunts, paid thousands of teenagers a few dollars an hour to call and request the video on MTV, which increased its profile. MTV eventually caught on and banned the video altogether, which in turn received national news coverage and made the song even more popular. Damn. Okay, let's look up Stevie Whitlock. Okay, lawyer with a history of publicity stunts and grandstanding. Still, she's managed to rack up quite a few legal victories for C-list celebrities and athletes. She became famous in the mid-1980s after successfully suing a multinational sandwich company whose 12-inch subs were actually an average of 11.5 inches long. Stevie argued that since the company sold 1 billion sandwiches per year, that was enough missing sandwich to make a sub long enough to span from New York to Los Angeles. The jury awarded her a paltry $5,000, but the news coverage of her crusade turned out to be priceless. Unfortunately, none of this seems related to the Roottrees. Okay. I mean, I want to look up this headline. Okay. Bo. I think now we can go to the periodicals here. Yeah, let's start off with Teen Blast. 5Ps is popular and attractive enough that even though his music is not targeted toward teen girls, they seem to be paying attention anyways. While he hasn't done any interviews with the magazine, they've listed him among the hunky hotties. Oh boy. For the past few months, with small bios that tell you various facts about him. This includes his real name, David, his birthday. Birthday might be relevant, let's see here. Uh, 2977. Star sign, Aquarius, grew up in foster care in Portland. From Portland. A letter to the editor also claims that it is not possible that he was born in 1977, as he claimed in a song called 17 Magazine that he turned 17 in 1992. The editor responds with a statement that they've reached out to his agent to ask about the song and were told it wasn't performed by 5Ps, and that they shouldn't print rumors. 17 Magazine. 17 Magazines, sometimes referred to as 17 Magazine, is the title of an unreleased and controversial song by Dirty Davy. There's mentions of it on a few sites claiming that it was on the first release of his first mixtape that was removed. There's no audio or visual evidence of it existing, but there are independent accounts from people who have claimed to have heard it, and that they do generally line up. According to their recollection, it was mostly about many different loosely connected occurrences of the number 17, mostly violent. The intro states that it was written on Davy's 17th birthday, and involved a fictional but glorified series of murders at a fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song title. The person doing the violence was apparently trying to beat Dahmer's high score. Jeffrey Dahmer had pleaded guilty to killing 16 people in 1992. Due to major acts of gun violence in schools earlier this year and the subsequent backlash against violent music and video games, it is generally considered in very poor taste to bring it up. Most of the people that enjoy mentioning it online are either trolls trying to shock people or come from the morbidly curious corners of the internet. Okay. Over to news time. Felix Fellows, aka 5Ps, famously appeared on the cover of a News Time, kicking off Roottreemania. Then a week later, Miracle Roottree appeared on the cover of the magazine in that article and focused heavily on 5Ps as well. A summary of both articles, as well as a close-up of the photo 5Ps is holding on the cover of his issue, have been added to your evidence. I mean, is the image of Miracle on the cover? Okay, that seems like... yeah. Okay. So that's everything that we had in our to search category. No, wait! We need to look up hunky hotties, I forgot. Search periodicals. Yeah, we'll search all of them. Ah. Alright, fine. No more hunky hotties. But we will go over to this one, because it's the one that we've already clicked on. 6 Pieces. Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family by Sam Madsen. Sam's book has a few different passages about her own history with the company and the rumors and gossip she collected during that tenure. She ran a farm for a period, starting around 68, until her daughter Gwyneth took over in 1984. I can put that in miscellaneous, I think. Most of the relevant rumors can coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, who took over as the president in 1978. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, and according to 6 Pieces, it was an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. Damn! Many of their hires at the time were young single women, and Guy often spent a lavish amount of money on private parties. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information that may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter, who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonelli's met her daughter once at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem very comfortable switching partners. Fair. I'm gonna make this as like a Misk Guy affairs, because we don't know which is gonna be which, and we can sort them out when we figure them out. I guess maybe I should just say Guy affairs. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding to markets previously untapped by Roottree. However, when he went on trips overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meetings with distributors and manufacturers. It was said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. There's also a section where Sam speculates that Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. You know what? No, this is just affairs in general. Yeah. Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Elias was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. While she has no hard evidence, Sam always got the impression that Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias into allowing Sam back into the family using some kind of leverage, instead of being a natural course of events. She mentioned that Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her, "Who's Beth?" because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Elias once had a secretary named Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth than the supervisor from the farm, but she never met her. Noted. That is great to have. I know I just basically copied like all of the important shit from this, but you know. There's some stuff here that, you know, I have not. It's good to have. Okay. Where to first? Let's go over here. Ryan Jones posted this photo of his family together in the hospital following the birth of their newborn girl. His new daughter is wearing an adorable little Santa hat, and his wife Stephanie is giving her signature thumbs up move from her campaign literature. We can put them on here. Occupation is baby. God, I'm so glad we got to do occupation baby again. Okay, that's that. Let's look now at... Let's go to Piketty. What if I clicked on the Bass and it went here? Basilbub! Basilbub? It's hard to do a Beelzebub. Basilbub. It's that really doesn't work. What does that say? The utensil that will help you lose 50 pounds. That's too many. That's too many. This is an interview with Cicely Sanchez, an author. She was hired to write a book about Guy Hudson. You claim to have been paid a significant amount to write a book about one of the Roottrees, Guy Hudson. He was president for a short period at the end of the 1970s, right? Yeah, I met him on New Year's Eve, actually. The last night of 1978. Guy liked to throw big parties. I was just coming off of Changed Man and looking for my next project. When his wife learned who I was, she invited me to the party, and they cornered me to talk about a book. That was the first time anyone recognized me from my work. I had finally made it. The book they asked me to write sounded great, but then none of the stuff that made him interesting was allowed to stay. Chop, chop, snip, snip. Anything with even the slightest threat to Guy's image ended up gonzo. What was the stuff that made him interesting? At his core, Guy was not complicated. In fact, I think I would boil him down to 2 traits. First, he wanted to be seen as the second coming of the great Elias Roottree. And second, he'd never be satisfied living the life needed to be seen that way. He had his fortune and good looks, and he really liked to exploit that to pick up women. But he couldn't let anyone else know, so it cost him a lot to cover it up. That was the only interesting aspect of Guy. He was James Bond trying to convince people he was Mr. Rogers, I guess. Mr. Rogers, really. Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but Elias Roottree was boring as all hell and all about family. Guy did everything he could to be seen that way. After I submitted my first draft, he sent me this garbage book, The Roottrees Legacy, with Elias on the cover. The last time he and I met, he had even switched out his orange suits for the same green ones Elias wore. I remember fancy flavors. Guy knew that part of Elias's legacy was the 5-piece flavors, so that's what Guy tried to do. Caviar was a disaster here, but it was actually somewhat popular in Brazil for whatever reason. In Christmas 1979, he went to Brazil to open the Roottree Brazil factory. Guy was always hopping around the world trying to recreate that success. So how come the book never came out? It's complicated. I had an out in my contract. Surprisingly, Guy signed the contract my lawyers wrote without running it by anyone in his legal department. I could pull my name off the book at any time, and Guy still got the content. After I left, it probably got a lot harder to convince any real publisher to give it their time. Is there anything here? I mean, I feel like this is going to be relevant here. Not in the affairs section. I'll put that in the to search, maybe. Yeah, it's like, Guy was president in these at the end of the 70s. We can also say Cicely Sanchez met Guy at the on the last day of 1978. Okay, second page. He was the president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? If I had to guess, his family very wisely put a stop to it. Mid-1981, months later, after I had already moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? It had my name on it, in big, shiny, embossed letters. Like all problems in his life, throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back. But it had half the page count, and the narrative was torn to bits. No thanks. The dinner was good. Imported steak that likely cost as much as a month of my mortgage, and we all got pretty drunk. He sent his mistress, Susie something, into the bathroom to proposition me. Poor girl. I remembered her from our trips overseas. She was too good for him. Anyways, he died soon after, and that was the last it ever came up. That sounds important for our affairs section. I mean, I figured he would have one of them in Brazil, given how much he keeps harping on Brazil. We'll keep that last bit here to emphasize, like, if she had a child with him, she's probably the final one. What can you tell us about the family? Any insight into the scandals from the recent book by Sam Madsen? I actually haven't read it. I just skimmed the sections on Guy to see why people were suddenly calling me up to ask about the man. I'd say she did well for what she had to work with. She only had rumors, whereas I spent time tailing him. Sometimes he knew, sometimes he didn't. He invited me to join them, but when dealing with Roottrees but I actually had people on him when he went to Australia, France, and China, too. When he met with someone, I'd figure out who they were and how they were involved. Doubly so if the meeting happened when he didn't want me around. Despite his best efforts, I got the whole truth, including things even his family never knew. For example, the daughter of his business partner in Australia. I think her name was Robin? He and she definitely spent a few nights together that he didn't want his family to know about. But I did. Let's put that in our information here. Highlight. That's in the affairs section. And I would like to go over to search. Let's put Roottrees Brazil in there. We'll look that up in a bit. Madsen got things wrong. Sam mentions Guy's affairs and treats them like most people would logically think to treat them, like the infidelity was a problem for Patricia. When his wife first approached me, though, it wasn't a talk, if you get my meaning. On paper and in public, it was a marriage like any other, but in reality, it was more of a mutually beneficial arrangement. They both got what they wanted out of it. Same thing. What was that? I'm assuming I only have to spell it out so you can get it in writing for your readers. Women. Patricia enjoyed the company of women, and the swinger scene made that more accessible. I'd told her I wasn't interested in her and Guy. I found out later that if I had said yes, her next question would have been whether or not her husband actually had to be there too. Guy, on the other hand, was in a traditional marriage, and at that same time could bed any women that found him charming. I can assure you that was exactly the type of marriage he was interested in. Good for them! I mean, not the manipulating young women and all that, but hey, open marriage, good for them. But anyway, chat. We're about to experience 3 minutes of ads, so if you need to go to the bathroom or grab a snack or get something to drink, now's going to be the perfect time to do so. Please take care of yourself. Remember to fix your posture, save your files, take your meds, unclench your jaw, feed your pets, charge your devices, do some stretches, alright? Please take care of yourself. I won't be making any progress in the game during this time. You won't miss out on anything if you're not subscribed. It just means that you get to hang out with me for an extra 3 minutes. Ain't that cool? But yeah, take care of yourself. That's the first and foremost important thing here, chat. Ow, 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 ow. That's the noise I make as I readjust my headphones. Boy, oh boy. I am glad that Patricia was fine with it, you know? I was sort of hoping that. I was like, I hope Patricia was cool with it. I feel like at that point you sort of have to be cool with it to not get a divorce. Either that or like, you're in a really bad thing here. You know, you're in a really, really bad situation, but I was sort of hoping it wouldn't be, so I'm glad. Truly, if it weren't for, like, you know, the fact that, Guy was most certainly abusing his position of authority in, getting with these women, then this would be mostly chill, you know? It's like, this is explaining exactly why this guy has 5. You know? At least 5. 5 that we might know of. And admittedly, could also be less. Because we're just getting people who haven't had a DNA test done yet. You know? Could be wrong. Who knows? It's like the only one we've got confirmed is 5Ps. That's the only one who's done a DNA test. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Smoothing out the fur on the plushie in my lap. Here we are. A handsome boy. He's a very handsome boy. Really, really big hamster. What's this guy? What's he from? Perished Plushies by Living Biohazard. That's the kind of plushie. Big hamster. Lovely guy. I like him. I like him a lot. I have many a plush. I love a good plush. They always bring me delight and joy and happiness. Looks like they're nearly done. I'm gonna take another sip. Another sip of my water and then the ad should be over. So many indeed. Welcome back from the ads. I was talking about plushies there that I have. I have a lot of them. Back to the evidence list here. You know what? Let's go ahead and go back here for a sec. Let's look up these. Spider Search, The Roottree Legacy. Okay, that's the full title, by Bess Williams. Very poorly received book about Elias Roottree. Very few copies of the original published in 1920. Recently republished by the same publishing company that printed Lauren's Diary for schools. Seems they wanted to capitalize on Roottreemania. Did not work. Bess Williams. Reprinting of an old book about Elias Roottree. Blatant corporate propaganda. Thank you. That's lovely. Well... Oh, are these in alphabetical order? Is that how it is? No. No, it's not. Never mind. I was like, oh, F-A? F-E? No, wait, it falls apart. It falls apart pretty quickly after that. You know what? No, let's go for it. The dictionary defines propaganda. I'm watching a fucking video essay right now. The dictionary defines propaganda as, quote, information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view, unquote. But if they were to replace that definition with a picture, it would be a picture of this book. The book tells you nothing new about Elias, and from what you know of his true feelings towards some of his extended family, you're not sure it tells you anything true about Elias either. The reissue of this book was so lazy that they even reused the famous photo of Elias from Business Watch whose copyright had expired. The best thing it has going for it is that it's only 85 pages long. Damn. Damn. Let's look up Bess Williams. Let's look up, like, what are you doing? Was an author born in the late 1800s. She lived just outside of Miami and died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. Bess has a minor history with the Roottrees. Her only notable book, Family Man, is widely considered blatant propaganda about Elias Roottree. It had been all but forgotten until recently, until it was re-released during the height of Roottreemania. There's a site dedicated to hurricane statistics that also mentions Bess Williams. The Bocadoro Library, not far from where she lived, was partially destroyed in the hurricane. When they rebuilt, they named the nonfiction section after her. The library was expanded again in 1950, and then closed in 1963 when multiple larger libraries opened in the surrounding area that made it redundant. The Bocadoro Library no longer exists. You'll find multiple libraries in the area. According to the website for the library system in Miami, the building where it once sat is now the Miami Print Museum. Searching for the Miami Print Museum, you'll come across their website. It states their hours and list of exhibits. The building is very small. Admission is free, and they only have room for a few different displays. One of the exhibits in their courtyard, which contains a fountain as well as a statue of an unknown author. This picture has been added to your evidence. Another is a printing press that was used by the Miami Sunday, a now defunct weekly newspaper. The last is the original print of Cuba by Cubans, an art book. Add that, and then we'll just do a little bit of that. And be like, likely Bess Williams? Let's not do likely, let's say potentially. So now, okay, back over to our search. Let's look up Roottrees Brazil. Roottrees Brazil, sometimes erroneously referred to as Roottrees Brazil, is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as a part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative near the beginning of 1979. Unlike some of the other Roottrees Everywhere results, Roottrees Brazil seems to be a success. You do some rough translating and find a significant amount of information about it. Brazil was the only region in which the caviar-flavored 5 pieces released at the end of 1978 were a hit. The primary reason that the factory still exists to this day is solely to create that flavor, which comes in its own standalone 5 pieces bag with Portuguese writing. A small town called Havaiagos? No, that would be Havaiagos. I don't know how Portuguese works. I'm gonna pronounce it like it's Spanish, and I'm sorry. Havaiagos, near the municipality of São Bernardo de Campo, became the location chosen by the Roottrees Candy Company after a newly elected local politician named Edson Suarez heard that they were planning a new factory and petitioned them in early 1979. The factory was controversial as locals did not want it there. The Roottrees visited Brazil around Christmas and managed to break ground on the project. Since then, however, it has been operating relatively smoothly except for 2 incidents. The first was Incendio de Bordo, and the second was an unsuccessful strike in 1995 that involved all of the factory workers being replaced. Incendio, is that like a fire? I don't know what Bordo would be, though. The factory was originally built and run, according to paperwork at the time, by a small company called Nova Cooperação de Doces Brasil, which literally translates to New Brazil Candy Corporation. This company no longer exists, and not much more information has ever existed about it. And the Roottrees now run Roottrees Brazil entirely. Okay. There's a lot here. I'll pop that in, like, fully. This as well, and this as well. I'll put this in miscellaneous here. Just Roottrees Brazil. Ba-ba-ba. Avalagos. João Bernardo de Campo is a real place in Brazil. A game designer by the name of Jeremy Johnston looked up cities in Brazil that had a lot of manufacturing so that he could place a fictional factory there. He did not want to offend any Brazilians with the tale he was writing that involved corruption and politics, so the small town name was made up. Alvaragos, where the factory was located, and invented by mixing two other regions, Interlagos and Alvarenga. I'm glad that he called that out. That's fun. Edson Suarez. Brazilian politician. You find a dissertation, published by a college student as a part of their PhD in history. It focuses on the rise of democracy in Brazil. It seems that up until 1988, Brazil was run by the military, and the politics during that time were often a hotbed for corruption and nepotism. The paper tells of a few politicians at the time, including Edson Suarez. Edson is a former mayor of Avalagos, Brazil. Before politics, he was a manager at an automotive manufacturing plant for a major American car company. He was put in charge of Avalagos by the military government in 1973. As mayor, he used his manufacturing background and knowledge of American business to establish new factories, distribution plants, and other business ventures in the area. This had two side effects. First, he became quite rich. Second, many locals were forcibly relocated. This did not make him a popular mayor. In what the paper speculates was a move to counteract his unpopularity, his wife Sonia was discreetly put in charge of a television station called Telerede. He often used this connection to ensure supporters would appear on local television, spouting his beliefs and emphasizing his political victories. He remained in office until 1988, when he was defeated in the first election after the military government was no longer in control. After this election loss, he quickly left the town behind. It is not known where he has gone, but the dissertation even speculates he likely fled to stay alive. Damn. Let's put Edward Suarez in the miscellaneous bit here. And let's look up his wife, Sonia. No one relevant by the name of Sonia Suarez. However, Spider Search does return a page that lists a news anchor in Brazil named Flavio Suarez, who has a mother named Sonia. Okay, Flavio Suarez then. Flavio Suarez is a young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. The discourse surrounding him is, to put it in polite terms, lewd. Sorry, that sentence, I didn't expect it to be going there. There's a website about something called fanfiction that has a small section dedicated to him. Hell yeah, I am immediately a fan of Flavio. It seems that women, and some men, of a wide variety of ages and writing skill tend to find him worthy of inclusion in their stories. You skim some of the tales there and learn there's a common thread is that he's currently dating a supermodel called Ashley York. Many stories either seem to ignore her existence or get her out of the picture entirely. There are also other more traditional fan sites that list some things about him, including his age, 18, zodiac sign, Libra, favorite food, grilled steak, and his mother's name, Sonia. Also, it seems that Flavio translates to golden-haired. One website with a signed publicity photo of Flavio seems to confirm this. The photo has been added to your evidence. I'll just pop that on there. I can get rid of the fucking... this photo's been added to your evidence. I don't need that on here. Fucking, add on... newscaster. Big fandom. Dating Ashley York. Okay, let's look up Ashley York. British supermodel who does ads for perfume, clothing, and jewelry. Been subject of controversy for some past few months, has been protested by PETA for wearing fur on the cover of some magazines. She's dating a young Brazilian news anchor named Flavio Soares, which has brought them both somewhat into the limelight. Not a lot of info on her. Okay, I think we can get rid of that now. This also seems like it's gonna be just a good thing for me to have in my miscellaneous. Yeah, let's spider search this. Maple fire. In 1982, the factory was deliberately attacked in a case of clear arson. The fire was brought under control after destroying about 2/3 of the production floor, and locals claim that the air smelled like a mix of burning plastic and maple syrup. The factory was rebuilt and continues production to this day. At the time, it was unknown why this happened, but last year a news special did list this incident as well as a few others in the small town as backlash to perceived corruption in the government at the time. According to the report, the mayor of the city was found to be receiving a cut of the factory's profits. Roottrees Brazil strike? No, okay. I mean... yeah, nothing new about that. We've looked up Sonia, but we've not looked up Telereda. Telereda? I don't know. Former television station in Brazil. Came to being in 1970 after a vacuum was created due to the removal of a different network at the hands of the Brazilian military dictatorship. Not a lot of info about who ran it and when. Alright. The Miami Sunday. No records you could find online or in your periodical search. Which with another periodical and became Miami Mercury Sunday, which folded after only a year. Miami Mercury Sunday was a newspaper that lasted only a year. A small website about quirky printing history facts that mentions it was the outcome of merging two smaller failing newspapers. Well, probably the Miami Mercury? This resulted in one larger failing newspaper. Which was only notable to the author because by combining the names in the way it did, it was tied for the longest title for an American newspaper at the time, with a newspaper in Jefferson, Texas. Here, let's just highlight this bit. So, we looked up the Miami Sunday. Miami Mercury? Now defunct newspaper that merged with Miami Sunday. Resulting newspaper went out of business. This one was archived. There we go. I go back here. Okay. Cuba by Cubans. Book of Paintings of Cuba, released in 1963, credited to Mauricia Barbon. At first glance, it doesn't seem related to your search in any way. I'm doing it anyway, baby! On second glance, it still doesn't seem to be related to your search in any way. God damn it. I'm putting it in my miscellaneous. Fuck you. This is my red herring. And I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it, I'm still gonna find the other stuff, alright? Fun fact, red herring was is a phrase, it like comes from, like, fox hunting. Like, bloodhounds doing big sniffies, trying to find their targets. But they'd be like, oh man, this is too easy for these dogs, so we're just gonna, like, put a bunch of fish. So that maybe it'll distract the dogs. That's my summary of that. So that's why I was like, I'm eating my treat, and then I'm gonna keep tracking. But I don't think that that made any sense. Anyway, Roottrees everywhere. Expansion in the late 70s coincided with some other large changes of the company, mixed success. Different companies related to it all formed in very different, sometimes haphazard ways. Minimal organized information about the history of the expansion itself online, but you can glean the following. Roottrees candy has been distributed globally to certain markets approved by Elias as early as the 1940s. This included places like Canada, Mexico, and select countries in Europe, mostly the UK. Roottrees everywhere involved Roottrees' expansion to other major markets that were assessed to be ready for Roottrees. This started with 4 that it had no share in: Australia, Brazil, China, and France. Let me get these. And then I'll grab this. Roottrees Canada. Canada Roottrees. Just wanted to double check. I'm gonna assume that that means those other ones are not relevant. Roottrees Australia is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. Part of that. According to a history website for Roottrees Australia, Charles Martin, who owned a company that manufactured licorice in Australia, was tapped to run the Roottrees factory after he impressed the American leadership of the Roottrees Candy Company at the time. Some success, but only in certain regions. Manufacturing leg of the company shuttered in 1992, after Martin died. Now just an importer and distributor. Alright. We already looked at Brazil. Let's look up France, and then we'll do China, simply because of where the words are in there. Non-starter. Negotiations broke down pretty late in the process after the company had already been formed. The leadership of Roottrees went through a very large change soon after. Meant to be Tristan Robert. And now China Roottrees. I didn't mean to get rid of China, or to get rid of Roottrees. China Roottrees is one of the companies created to manufacture, late 70s, China began to go through a period of economic reform. This led to the new opportunities for American companies, and the RCC decided to pounce. Long Hongbo was said to personally win over the Roottrees family and was the owner of multiple textile factories, did not wish to import the ingredients, and built a special factory to manufacture the candy in China. So instead they made a deal to import bulk unpackaged Roottrees candy and label it for not only China but additional markets. Hongbo, who was already in his mid-50s when the deal happened, only had daughters, and his brother Long Hongbo took control over on his death in 1986. After Hongyu died in 1992, it passed to the oldest child from the next generation, Long Jinyu. I'm gonna put that in here. The fact that he only had daughters makes me feel like maybe Guy got involved there. Can I just get this as well? Okay, I'll just put them in here. Hongyu. Long Shinyu. You know what, let's go for these first. Come across a website for the Longtai Textile Corporation, which is a company that helped expand Roottrees products to China since the late 1970s. The company seems very accomplished. Their site has quotes from many different reporters and news articles listed on it, in nearly every language. It's also mentioned quite often on websites about Chinese businesses, but those mentions are company-focused and not people-focused, and don't offer any information useful to your investigation. Their page contains a very rudimentary leadership timeline with names that prove that the company has been in the Long family for a long time. It kind of looks like a family tree. It goes back against at least 250 years in some form or other. During the period where they began the Roottrees deal, Long Hongbo, in China the family name comes first, so Long is his last name, I'm aware, was the CEO. He died before the internet was widespread, so there's not much out there other than his name on the website. His younger brother Hongyu was featured on the history section directly following him. This also seems to be the only mention of the man. The current CEO is a woman simply listed as Xinyu. The site doesn't list her last name, though she does appear in the family tree below Hongbo. Longtai has a few American logos on its page. One of the Roottrees logo, one is Tranquilts, the third is Piece of Asia. Okay. Well, let's look up this corporation. That's what I thought it would be. Let's look up Tranquilts. It seems Tranquilts is a play on tranquil and quilts. The name is ironic considering they're the loudest quilts you've ever seen. The main quilt featured on their website is a flaming unicorn soaring through space with peace symbols all around it. Although they were listed on the website for the Longtai Textile Company, they don't seem to have much of a connection. It appears they import cloth. And Piece of Asia? Piece of Asia is the American arm of Longtai, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania! According to their site, the Tai in Longtai translates to peaceful, so they chose their name in America to match. There are a lot of other companies listed here. Too many to investigate, as very few of them seem to have any relevance. It seems Piece of Asia is nearly as accomplished as Longtai. They offer fabrics and cloths at wholesale prices. You don't spot anything out of the ordinary. The business is said to be owned by husband and wife, Jerry and Linda Han. Their Chinese names are listed too, and from using an online translator, it seems that Jerry is Han Junwei and Linda is Long Jinyao. Ah, no, it's Jinyu, not Jinyao. Fuck. Okay. We're gonna put this in here. And then my to search, Sherry and Linda Han Junwei, and I don't know if it's Long or Lang. I don't know. Look, I would. I'm like, my knowledge of language, I'm defaulting to Japanese pronunciations because I know that, China had a big influence. That's one way of putting it. China had a big influence on Japan. That's one way of saying it. You know. Let's look up more of these names. Hongyu. Okay, we don't have you. And Xinyu. Long Xinyu. In China, the family name. Yeah. She was recently listed in an article on a website written by and for women. The article, entitled Empowered, is about the recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. The article states that due to her lack of brothers, she has a younger sister, Long Xinyu took over as CEO of her family's company in 1992 after her elderly uncle was deemed unfit to run the company due to mental deterioration. Let's put that over here. This was apparently an extremely controversial move amongst the company's employees, and some of them, the article does not state how many, quit and wrote a letter stating that she must have coerced him in his vulnerable state. Since then, the company has been performing well. Her nephew, who is currently her second-in-command, is expected to take over when she retires. In the meantime, the board's stance has been a twist on a popular proverb. The article roughly translates it as, someone that has proven they can do something well can do it 100 times well. An unproven leader could doom us all. The article also offhandedly mentions that Xinyu was an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. Nice. There is an unsourced picture of Xinyu in the article. It states that it's from 1992 when she took over. She was 45 at the time. It's been added to your evidence. Now, is the IVF a lie? Is the in vitro fertilization? I forget if that's... I'm picturing it in my brain as like a written down word, but we all know how that goes for me. Oh boy. Is this that could be a... It could be a thing. I don't think we have the actual image of, that family tree now, do we? Right? Yeah. I mean, that'd be great if we did. Back over here. Looking up more names here. I've already looked up Piece of Asia, right? Yes, I did. Let's start off with, Jerry Han. Oh! I didn't think that would actually happen. Jerry, Linda, and Mark Han appeared recently on a website called Focus and Philanthropy under the headline, Hangin' with the Hans. The Hans were chosen because they donate significantly to causes that further Chinese-American culture. Jerry and Linda were both born in China and fell in love during college. Linda's father led a large company, this article never names it, after it expanded to the US. Well, we know she's probably related to... This is probably the younger sister. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I should be putting this in the affair section. Whatever, let's get a little bit more info here. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. After it expanded to the US, Linda's father approved their marriage so long as Sherry took over the US portion of the business. Linda jokes that the entire situation is something out of an Alanis Morissette song, with how ironic it all ended up, God. I was absolutely terrified to move to the United States, but my big sister was desperately in love with the idea. She used to have this Butch Cassidy poster on her wall and was obsessed with Robert Redford. But somehow, Jerry and I were the ones being sent here. Now we couldn't possibly imagine going back. When we had Mark, we never even considered giving him a traditional name. Meanwhile, my sister stayed in China and has thrived there. She doesn't even like visiting the US anymore. Uh-oh, if something happened there. Our kids are the complete opposite, though. Mark couldn't wait to travel abroad as soon as he was old enough. He's actually in business school in China now, working with my sister. Our niece, who grew up there, was the opposite. She couldn't wait to get out here. She started calling herself Lucy Long in high school and flew out here as soon as she graduated. The name change apparently drove my sister absolutely loco. Okay. Guy Hudson affair with what was her name? Not Han, Long Jinyu, was it? Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, Jinyu. Ba-ba-ba. Had kid, daughter, goes by Lucy Long. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And I'll put like a sentence from this one in the affair thing so I can get back to this one pretty recently. Let me look up focus and philanthropy. Okay, I thought that would be it. Okay. Let me go here. I'm going to add this bit here to the affair section. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay. We looked up Jerry and Linda Han. Let's look up Han Junwei. Nope. Long Xinyao? Okay. Now we can look up these other guys. Tristan Robert. Okay, Tristan Robert is a businessman who at one time was in negotiations to take over Roottree France. He's still alive, and you come across an interview unrelated to Roottree from a few months ago. Seems that other countries have not been immune to Roottreemania, as he recognized the word Roottree in one of the questions. It seems the interviewer snuck in a question about his experience with the company at the end of the 70s. The article is in French, and takes some time to translate section by section. He mentions Guy by first name only, but the tale he tells is quite ugly. The translation is as follows. Guy, the president of Roottree, was one of the worst men I have ever met. He approached my wife about having an affair, which she refused. He then kept insisting that this was the best way to celebrate the end of our business contract. I don't think he expected her to say no. I don't think he thought she would tell me what happened. I punched him in the face and refused to attend another meeting with this man. They lost a lot of money on this deal because not only was he a terrible person, but he was also a terrible businessman. When he died shortly after, it felt like the universe was working things out. I wasn't surprised to learn he had a secret child. He seemed to treat women like collectible pocket monsters. It seems mentioning Pokemon sidetracks the questions a bit, and the interview never returns to the subject of Roottree. I'll just put this sentence in here. Yeah, it seems, I feel like Guy's gonna have a kid in every country, you know? Oh man, he had... No, that's, that would be a step-sibling, or half-sibling, rather. Da 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 da. We looked up Roottree everywhere. Charles Martin. Candy manufacturer in Australia, born in 1923. Popular brand of licorice called Martin's Licorice Bullets. Yeah, I figured that would redirect to the same thing. Most of his history is unrelated to the Roottrees. However, in 1979, he helped to develop Rootree Australia. He used his own wealth to build a new factory, distributed the maple treats the same methods he'd already been using for his previous candy venture. A website about Australian commerce mentions that he had a very unusual business agreement with the main Roottree company in the US. Much like how the Clancy Trust distributed the profits from the Roottrie company evenly to the Roottrie family, the profits of Roottrie Australia would be split 50-50 between the Roottrie company and Martin himself, for him to do with what he wishes. This made Martin very, very wealthy, but also led to many cost-cutting measures meant to increase profits as much as possible, especially toward the end of Martin's life in the early 90s. Roottrie candy gained a poor reputation in Australia, and sales suffered immensely. Charles's vast fortune was passed along to his daughter, Robin Martin, who sold both businesses at first opportunity. Wasn't their thing? So now we have Robin's last name. Excellent, excellent. Hee hee hee. Hoo 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 ha ha ha. What do I go for next? Is this Flavio? Oh my god, Flavio! To Natasha. Kisses from Brazil, Flavio. Flavio Soares is a Brazilian news anchor. Signed photo of him sent to a fan you found online. Wow. Let's see here. Let's go for... let's just go up here. Here we have Felix Fellows, not Foles. Wah. Could this rapper be the next Sam Madsen? 5Ps, aka Felix Fellows, appeared on the cover of a Newstime holding a photo of his mother and Guy Hudson. The article concerns his insistence that his father was Guy Hudson. The story was dramatic and sensational, and initially dismissed as fake, until a DNA test proved that he was related to Guy Hudson. 5P says that his mother Joanna named Joanna was Zach Morton's secretary when he retired, and then Guy Hudson's secretary for only 1 or 2 weeks after that before she quit. The first few weeks that he was president. His parents divorced when he was 4, and after his father learned of the affair. Felix and his mother then moved to Portland because she was afraid for her and her son's life. He grew up with her until he was 16, but one day his mother never came home from the movie rental store where she worked the register. The next morning, they found her dead from an overdose in her car. She had stolen all of the cash from her drawer and spent it on heroin. As Felix went through her belongings, the only thing he had to remember her by were a hairbrush she always used, some photos, and a stuffed animal from her childhood. But then he found it. A box hidden in the back of her closet. Inside were love letters and photos related to Guy Hudson, as well as a letter from his father containing threats. He threw it all away, with the exception of the one photo he appears with on the cover of Newstime. He says it was, quote, the only one where they were dressed. The only one not from the affair itself, unquote. The picture is shown in full inside the magazine, and was added to your evidence. The magazine also includes some additional history about 5P's career. Felix Fellows was born to Riley and Joanna Fellows, but has never rapped without a moniker. He tried to find success by opening for other artists and even by selling CDs on the street corner in Portland. He has only recently started going as 5Ps to harness the power of his lineage. The writer did some research into the truth of these claims, and was able to confirm that Joanna did work for the Roottrees Company as a secretary during the early to mid-70s. It also confirms that she died of a drug overdose, and that Felix went into foster care soon after. They were unable to track down his father. They also reached out to the Roottrees Company, but at the moment the company's blanket statement was, "Since the release of a recent book, Roottrees has seen an overwhelming number of false ancestral claims. None have been factual, and nearly all have been knowingly dishonest. We encourage individuals to reach out to us in an official capacity as opposed to attempting to use our name in the media for publicity." Okay. Well, we can go here. We know that her name was Joanna. And that this would be something Fellows? What was the name? Riley Fellows. I mean, I doubt that it would be... I mean, we don't have... well, not yet. Let's go for this image here. Roottrees Family Picnic. The rapper 5Ps appeared on the cover of Newstime holding this Polaroid of his mother, Joanna, when she was Zach Morton's secretary at a company picnic. He claims that Joanna and Guy Hudson, also in the photo, were having an affair that led to his birth. I mean, we can try Fellows as her last name. It's gonna be her... we need her maiden name, though. Her last name unknown. I mean... let's see here. I'm confident in those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Confident in that. Do I not have a, I mean, is there anything more specific than musician here? Not that I'm seeing. And that should be his name, shouldn't it? David Fellows? I guess we can, find out. Let's see here. First name... I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be Felix. It would be David. There's no other... alright. I mean, Carol could be named wrong. Said, named after grandmother. It's either, it could be Eloise. I'm not sure though, because I mean, they said named after grandmother. Options would be Eloise or Caroline. And there's not any of that, you know? Neither of those are explicitly here. We just have Carol, which is what we've gone for. Alright. Let's see what else we can get here, maybe. Maybe we can do one more. Let's just go for this one here. Fucking miracle, look at this guy. Look at this dude. Okay, nope. Charlatans and thieves! Miracle Roottrees appeared on the cover of Newstime shortly after 5Ps did. He vehemently denied that 5Ps was a Roottrees. The article was from before the DNA test that proved it. Miracle didn't focus much on the details of 5Ps' accusations regarding his mother and Guy Hudson. Instead, he comes across as exhausted at the events that have been going on behind the scenes, as well as the character of those he feels are attacking his family. He starts with 6 pieces content. He says that although most of the book was based on fact, it left out anything that wouldn't fit the agenda. He points out that Sam's daughter still earns a generous salary for overseeing the farm division of Roottree, and that Sam did the same before her. That Sam's family was not destitute, and that it was only her son who, quote, chose to take on a job with no salary, unquote. He claims that though they didn't have to, the family helped pay for her son's medical bills after voting that it was, quote, the right thing to do, unquote. Miracle also says that the story about his father, Elias, shunning EC was one-sided, leaving out Edward Clancy's blame in the whole thing. Elias gave him a simple ultimatum: stop sinning or be disowned. Miracle says it was EC's own choice, and that Elias was allowing him to earn food and shelter on the company's dime was a kindness, especially considering that he and John continued to live together. Jesus fucking Christ, Miracle. Miracle then pivots to the fallout from 6 pieces. He recounts a deluge of claims to the Clancy trust that the family have been subjected to. He doesn't cite any specifics, but says that every time someone comes forward, the family devolves to arguments. They've had to hire an outside legal team to help, but so far every case has been demonstrably, laughably false. All they do is tarnish his family's reputation. He focuses on 5Ps, who has appeared on news time before him. He calls him a grifter and a delinquent and says he's using their name and products to sell filth to the masses. Of all the accusations, he says this is the most dangerous because it exposes the world to hatred. He cites 5P's lyrics as violent, sexist, and ungodly, and prays the boy will repent, retract his lies, and find religion. Lastly, he turns to the future. Miracle states that those who wish to hear the true story can join him on his farewell tour this upcoming fall. The Miracle's Roottree are planning on touring the country's churches one last time, and that now, at age 71, Miracle is the oldest living Roottree. While he plans to continue preaching at his own church in Butler County after the tour, this is, quote, your last chance to hear the truth from the man with the most complete recollection of one of America's most notable families in your own hometown, unquote. The article mentions that Miracle's son, Miracle Jr., did not wish to comment and has a statement from Clark Rafferty LaRue through the Roottrees law firm. Miracle does not speak for his entire family. We're working carefully on a plan to definitively disprove any claims of infidelity in our family's past. The article also does not refute Miracle's claim that he's the, quote, oldest living Roottree, unquote, despite Sam Madsen being born the year before him. It was unclear if Miracle made the claim out of ignorance or spite. Damn, dude. I'm keeping that in my miscellaneous. Fuck, dude. But alright, we've gotten a lot, and a lot more to go. I'm excited. I'm having the time of my life. I'm loving it. I'm living and I'm loving, and I'm having a grand old time, and that's going to be it for today, chat. Oh my god, I love this game so much! Oh boy. I'm so glad that there's more. I'm so glad that there's more. I wanted this to be like a short game, a short long game. In between long games. But I'm so glad that there was even more. I fucking love it. That's gonna be it for today. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid, shall we? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Affiliate anniversary. Yeah, we're gonna be raiding Super Real Kitten because it's affiliate anniversary. Oh, I love her horns. Oh, very cool. I don't know if I ever noticed their horns. Like, I don't think I've seen this model, or... Yeah, I don't think I've seen this model. I'm immediately doubting everything. I'm just like, what if this is what he's always looked like? I don't know. What if he's always looked like that? But alright. Everybody have a good time. You were half listening, but why can't Carol be a tribute to Caroline? I think it is. It's truly just the only thing. I've just started doubting myself because, it wasn't going through. And so I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it means something else. Who knows? I guess people can have multiple grandparents, can't they? But alright. I'm sending you all away now. Go and have a good time. Go, go. See you on Thursday. I'm gonna probably beat the last campfire. Goodbye.